You're live. What's up? Let's see. Do that. Do-do-do-do. Oops. Live chat. What's going on there, full circle? Good to see you in there. Make sure we get everything else straightened out here. Martin Lucas, what's going on? Made it on time, you said. Sweet. Xbox rocks. What's going on? Evening time to you, too. Digger, what's happening? I love watching this other monitor, the actual live feed, because it's actually showing up before. Figure that out. The actual screen that I'm actually doing the podcast type thing. Funny as hell. Renee Von Oosterd, what's going on? Hello, Chris and chat. What's going on, guys? Let me see. Well, everybody's popping in there. Glenn Judd, what's going on, man? He said, last two videos are amazing. Too much stuff on... yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The stuff that's on Mars is crazy. People like, some people don't believe it. They're like, oh, no, there's no way this stuff's on there. But I go, listen, if there's only one thing you see that just blows your mind, then you have to question it, right? No matter what channel you see it on. It's about saying, hey, that doesn't look like it's natural. And if it's not natural, what is it and why is it on Mars, right? So that's the way I look at it. Pete Ferrero, what's going on? Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you guys, the other guys have seen this either. I just literally put out a video that was, an hour or two before I just going live. And basically it says, do aliens live on Saturn's moon Enceladus? And it's for good reason. I question it, and it's a good video. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, guys can always leave a tab open if you want. I'll throw you the link now, and I'll probably throw it once everybody else jumps in here. But let me make sure that it is. Here we go. There's a link right there if you guys want to put on a tab there. And like I said, if you guys haven't subscribed to it, go ahead and subscribe, and then just hit that little notification bell so you guys will get the newest videos on that channel as well, my lunar anomalies and beyond. So check that out. Daniel Vargas, what's going on? Hello from Brooklyn. What's up, Chris? Not much, Daniel. Good to have you in there, man. Josh D's in there. Hello, all. Yeah, just saying that. Josh D was saying that I think I put it on like an hour or two before. Let me see here. I won't be able to tell it now, but yeah. Either way, it was I just put it on there literally. Crosser 4123. What's going on, man? Say hey, Chris, and all in the chat. The vid rather. I'm sorry. It was brilliant. Great finds. Keep it up. Well, I appreciate it, man. Renee. Hey, yes, Chris. Thanks for the last video's highest quality for all your beautiful work. Well, I appreciate it. Well, the funny thing about it is, like, I don't know about you guys, but I hated that last pan to a certain degree. I don't mean the findings, but the clarity. It really wasn't that great. And I hate using any videos like that or making a video on whether it's a single picture or a pan, because it's like, I'd rather have it as clear as possible. The PDSs are the clearest the ones to use, So I'd prefer to use those, but we don't always have that luxury, right? 786 Auto, what's going on, man? Appreciate your support as always, man. Good to see you in there as always. Again, thank you for the support. It is appreciated. Glenn Judd, you said my guess is they are small people. Let me do this. Let me go ahead and make this one here larger. The screen's a little bit more distance away from me, so it's gonna have to put my eyes on. Let me see here. Go back to this. Anyway, you were saying, I guess there are small people on Mars, cars with a question mark, and does look like it. Well, like I said, even if it wasn't one, it had that weird, uncanny look to it. The one you're talking about in the in the hillside, or the one I was saying, pointing out, I said that's kind of odd that it just had that look. Now, let's say it's not totally off base. Well, clearly, it doesn't just look like just nature made that. It looks like something other than whether it's a vehicle of some sort or not. Is it partly it's a structure built into the side of it? Who knows? Whatever it is, it's not natural. Libby T, what's going on? He's saying hi, folks. Mimi Reacts. What's going on from Germany? Good to have you in there, as always. Noodles, what's going on, man? Good to have you in there. Astrobat 1, hello everyone. Good evening from the UK. Got a lot of you folks in here from the UK. Dan Mad's in there. What's going on, Dan Mad? Hi guys, big shout out from the UK. Always got a lot of good friends and people over there from over the big pond. It's good to have you everybody in there. Greenies from Colorado. What's going on? Daryl Harrod, depending on how you pronounce it. Alan Paul, what's going on? You're saying hi, folks. Hope you're having a good evening, Alan. Photography Light and Magic. Hi, Chris. Love the lunar video. Love the Mars one too. You have been busy this week. Yeah, I mean, because I'm getting I wouldn't use the term screwed, but I'm trying to make sure that you guys get at least, I'm trying to get the three in. But because I actually am now busy on Saturdays, like I explained to you guys, my son being in competition in high school and all this other stuff, that it's like one day less I can work on these. So it's kind of like have to jam them in there, um, for the week instead, So I'm trying my darndest to get these out for you guys because I do have them in Photoshop and I'm trying to get them out, or it's in tabs. Like I didn't have to do any photoshopping, which is great. Anytime I don't have to do that, it's great. Um, for the Enceladus video I just did, the moon video. So, basically just pointing out things and some text and stuff to read. But other than that, it was great. Clerks 93, yo yo yo, what's going on? K Mag, what's going on? Good to have you in here. Hello from the Rockies of British Columbia, Canada. What's going on? Oh, you fine folks up on the northern border. Alien Teno's in there. What's going on, Alien? Hello, Chris. Hi. Hello, and hi, everyone. Libby T says, no problem, Chris. I can't catch the coronavirus, huh? Yeah, good thing. That would be bad. Just think how many people you could get it just by watching, right? That would suck. Seriously suck. Yeah, Libby, you're right about that. You said it's a lot of time setting up these videos. Yeah, you're right about that. Let me see if this is set right. Okay, we're good. Maybe React says, has anyone seen Art Alien's new video, the one with the alien head? I have, and he's been finding some extraordinary things there. He sees a lot of statue things, and he's not alone. I see a couple of those myself, and you guys have pointed out some that look like it coming off the top of the mountain, like the one we did in that pan where it looked like it was coming off. One looked like kind of looked like an eagle type thing on this platform or whatever. And then sometimes you can find these like what look like statue head or bust of the statue. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, he does good work. He finds a lot of good stuff there. David R. Greetings from Salford, UK. More new UK in the house. Pete Ferrero says, family number one, Chris. Well, it's first, right? Sabres made my daughter hockey mom of the year. Sweet. Congratulations to her. Yeah, you gotta back your kids, man. That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Nothing else matters as far as I'm concerned. Family's everything. You know what I mean? So you gotta at least do that. I mean, it's okay to have your passion and all, but what comes first, right? Yeah. Mimi reacts as 4 confirmed cases in my town. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed people starting to walk around all of these face masks on and everything else, and they're trying not to come out if they don't have to because they're afraid they'll catch the damn thing. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them in the least bit. Uh, Clerk 93 said, "You ever heard about star forts? How they're all over the world, and I believe that the Statue of Liberty is built on top of one. Wonder who built them. I'm not sure. Star forts. I'm not sure. What other countries are they in? You said they're all around the world, right? Maybe they had a different name because I'm thinking it doesn't sound familiar. MC Gamer, what's going on? You said, hey, Chris, hey, community, countdown to Brexit about time. Yeah, haven't really been listening too much of that. What are they doing? Are they reforming that? What are they doing with that? Damn mad, you said you guys need to check out Mars X3D. Yes, you do. In fact, I was just David Gannett. He's a good friend of mine. Check his channel out if you can. If you guys need the link, just give me a shout out. I'll go ahead and leave it. I did it last week. I think I gave a shout out to him as well as um, left a link for that channel. But he's actually doing it now too. You actually see him live like you do me on the corner, on the very bottom corner of the page. In fact, I think he just said he just got himself a green screen as well as a microphone because we were actually talking the UFA team, and of course, I'm part of that. And we were in there, and he's like, "Dude, what kind of mic do you use?" I said, "Well, I got a Samsung mic, and I got this one here, blah 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 blah." And he was like, "Oh, that's sweet." So he says, "You always sound great, man." So I'm just curious what mics you use. I said, "Well, wasn't always that way. If you listen to the older stuff, I cringe when I hear it, but they were cheesy mics and weren't worth 3 cents as far as I'm concerned, but they worked. That was the point, right? Just to convey what I'm trying to say. But yeah, if you can check out Mars X3D, yeah, you definitely worth it. Oh, okay. You're saying 50 minutes, the UK will once again be an independent nation. Yeah, because I think when they did that, oh my God, what a mess that was. Everybody was like, up in arms. They're just totally pissed off the way that thing went. And I don't know all the ins and outs, but I do know a couple people from the UK. They were saying, yeah, it was a total piece of crap there. To be honest with you, they just weren't happy about it at all. Alien Tenor, you said last 2 nights in Chester, UK, we've had the eerie metal grinding in the sky. Oh, really? That's weird. Was it on the news or anything? Did they figure out what it was? Oops. Hate it when that happens. Move the page here by accident. Jack Bruce, he said, hello from Holland. Chris, what's going on? Hello, right back at you in Holland. Good to have you in here, man. Zoroaster 40. You said, I went to the Gigapan and blew them up and scanned the ridge line. Runs everywhere, pyramids all over and trapdoors. Thank you for a new hobby. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been doing this because this is the reason why I like to leave the links because a lot of people are really interested in this kind of stuff. And I said, the only way to do it is just to leave a link. I mean, so this way you guys can check this out yourself. You might find totally crazy things compared to what I do, and it doesn't matter. The whole point is you're getting to see this stuff yourself. And if it's a passion of your own, that's what you want to do. You want to actually check this stuff out for yourself, right? John Edmonds, he said, hi, Chris, and greetings from Cornwall, UK. More UK. Good to see you in there, man. Big wave my hand at you. Uh, David R., you said, I don't know why that's even said helpful for you. He said, you ever get clashes from other channels similar to yours? I'm asking as I follow another channel who always bitch. Oh, Brexit is wrong. Yeah, you'll get that. I mean, I get more trolls from other channels than anything. A lot of times I usually don't have any problems with other channels, just the ones that, they're jealous or whatever. And you'll get that. It's the inevitable. You know what I mean? Like I said, I always mention the guy that said it one day. He said, you could literally post a cure for cancer and you'll still get thumbs down or you'll have trolls. It's a given. You know what I mean? In fact, I don't know if you guys are watching. It was a Jimmy Kimmel. Uh, he had, I guess there was celebrities that were reading a hate mail. Hate mail. Oh, it's freaking hilarious. It's sad at the same time, though, right? It doesn't matter who you are. You're gonna have hate. It's just the way they are. Hate is gonna hate. Make sure this is all the way down here. Okay. Oh, okay. Clerks 93 said Star Force everywhere: USA, UK, India, Netherlands. Oh, there's Netherlands and Netherlands. So, Netherlands, Puerto Rico, and many more places. A lot of them are buried. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that because I'm just like I said, maybe there's another name for it, or I just don't know. One of the two, right? So I'm gonna definitely check that out. Crosser of 4123 just subbed to Mars X 3D. His vids look really interesting. The more you guys doing this, the better. Yeah, I mean, and he does a great job. He's a good guy, and he does a really good job. He's the one that showed the real Jimmy Roberts how to do the 3D kind of looking thing where you kind of cross your eyes a little bit and get the two photos into one. And he showed him, and then of course Jimmy actually did a video on that, and of course he gave him props and everything else. So yeah, I mean, the more people that are in this, the better, because then you guys get more of a viewing and get to see more stuff. And David's really passionate about doing that stuff. So yeah. Hey, custom tailored one, what's going on? You said with all that you exposed, I'm surprised this hasn't made the mainstream news. Yeah, you would think so, but here's the thing: I'm wondering if they just have this kind of like guideline, right? And they're just like, well, just don't do any of that kind of stuff because I don't know if it's just like they think they're gonna get some kind of bad rap or it's something they just don't. They're told not to do. I don't know. It's hard to tell, right? Really hard to tell. Sometimes it makes it to programs, like I said. You know, Sometimes they'll put you on Ancient Aliens, but a lot of times, like I said, the last time I seen anything on that was on Russia Today or RT News, and I had, like I said, Minister Paul Helia on there, and that was a really, really interesting show to watch. And I love the fact that they put that on there. They're not afraid of it. They just put it on. Agama Gama. What's going on? Good to have you in there. It's my 23-year wedding anniversary for me, you said. Well, if that's today, congratulations and happy anniversary. Terry G, you said, hello, my friend. Love watching you. Well, thank you very much, Terry. Appreciate that. Simo, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, and I promise I don't want to butcher that, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it. What do you think? How advanced civilization was there on Mars planet? I don't know. It's almost like you can see a combination of both. It's like what we got here, right? You can go to ancient civilizations, and it's nothing but stone, and of course, you can find some tools that they did. But some of the ancient civilizations here, people are having a problem thinking that they're just a bunch of stone cutters and stuff like that. They think they were a lot more advanced. Well, we're seeing the same thing on Mars, right? It's like you can see what looks like kind of things we have very similar here, but then you go, wait a minute, it looks like they kind of, made their structures into buttes and mountains and so on and so forth. So, it makes you wonder. But it's like, first thing people think, well, apparently they weren't very advanced. It's like, well, it doesn't mean anything. They could have all advanced, equipment, or the way you live in your own house, right? But picture having everything you own, and more, even more high tech, inside a mountain. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a cave dweller kind of thing, right? So they may be. I think we're seeing both, or they're just really good at utilizing, basically the ground, the actual ground or the Martian surface, whether it be natural places, and like I said, hills and buttes and stuff like that. So yeah. Mimi reacts. People on the internet are so aggressive. Yeah, they can be. But like I said, it's kind of the given. You just have to expect it. A lot of really good people outweigh them, by X amount, so it doesn't matter. You just have to just feel bad for them. Not. Um, Astrobat 81, you said, what is your take on the China lunar rover findings? It depends on which one you're talking about. I mean, they have the glass-like substance found there, and that could have been caused by intense heat. Some people speculate it could have been an explosion, or just the fact that it's been in the sun for X amount of time. Turn some of the soil into glass, because that's basically what sand is, right? It's just or glass is, right? Just heated up sand. Um, so if you're going by the other photos that they had, because they just recently come out with a handful. In fact, I eyeballed one. In fact, that one's coming up for you. Um, you can't see the objects very well, but you can see they're being hidden. And I did my best to really pull these things out, although they're not going to be clear because they've been covered over. And basically, it's a digital cover over, and it's almost like a translucent, like a almost clear, but not. It's like I wouldn't say almost clear, because if you're going to go by it, it's probably 60 to 70%, um, non see through, if you want to use that term. So yeah. Um, but there's a lot of stuff in these photos. I mean, just where they've got the lander, you can see the same thing what they do like in the NASA photos. They literally like put like these compression artifacts. They look like compression artifacts, but they're not. And you can see where they've actually done around certain spots. Really weird. You'll see what I'm talking about, because like I said, I'm gonna try to get that video out as soon as I can for you guys as well. Hey, Mr. Wayne, what's going on? You said, "Hey, this is perfect for me. It's my drive time home from work Saturday nights. We're never good." There you go. Or it works, right? Dean Sadler, you said, "You gave me the best hobby ever." Yeah, isn't it kind of like it just gets in your blood, right? After a while, you're like, I'll just check it out. And then you find your own stuff. And it doesn't even have to be anything I mention or any other channel you might watch. You just happen to look at it and you go, oh my God. And you found this yourself. And then it's like it's in your system. You just can't, you just can't stop after that. You just want to keep looking, because I mean, be honest. It's like when you look at these things, you just don't know what you're going to find. It's kind of like a crackerjack. You just don't know what you're going to find in there, right? Let me make sure this is right here as far as the sound wise. Do 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 do. A little lower than it should be. Get a little more volume. That sound all right to you guys, or sound okay? Should be a little higher. Greg McCauley, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support. You asked, do you think there is still life on Mars we're not being told about? Also, have intelligent, do you think they will be? Not sure at the end of that. I don't know if we're able to get the whole thing in there. Um, I think there's life on there, and if it literally escaped the doom or the catastrophic event, I think there is, and they might have had, who knows, this might have been a long time coming. Um, let's suppose we had, like, let's say it was a war amongst themselves, or somebody out in space or whatever, and of course it's pure speculation, but let's suppose for a moment that they're warring with themselves and they kind of expected it to be coming. And maybe they just started just building underground, hoping that they could escape all the catastrophe, and they might very well be. But I also think there's other life too. I think there's organics. I think there's moss, trees, stuff like that, and even insects, because we've seen some things in videos, or I should say photos, that show like what look like these little things with motion blur flying by. And some people say, oh, it's just dust. It's dust. Yeah, well, one micron of dust, huh? Where's the rest of it? It just kicked up one piece, right? And like I said, it's between that and what was that one I did about? It was the Opportunity rover, where remember they had like a bunch of these photos and they put it together like a movie. And what I did was I stopped and I broke it down so that we could see all the stuff that they were hiding, but you can also see all of the manipulation they did because you'll have like these wheel marks, and all along the wheel marks are completely blurred in between them and outside of them. It's like what the hell are they hiding if it's if it's just simple a barren planet, right? And I've always stated that. I just don't understand what the point of that is. If you're showing us raw photos as you claim they are, then why all the manipulation? Why the painting over? Why the digital information laid over it? So on and so forth. It doesn't make any sense. Just take a raw photo, give us the raw photo. We're not seeing that. Alien Tenno, you said, Chris, on your Enceladus video, I think Saturn has its own micro solar system, more life there than Earth. And you might be right because they're talking about a couple of the moons, like Titan and stuff like that. They claim, well, even Enceladus, because they're saying there's salt water there, and they believe that there's probably life on those moons. And Titan is more; it's not like an icy planet like Enceladus is. So, yeah, I mean, and we got what? How many moons is there? It's not 23. Is it 23 that Saturn has? I forget what it has. Every time you turn around, they got like more. They're finding more of them, whether they're like real tiny things or I think they're up to like 23 moons, maybe more than that. I mean, watch it. What's going on? Good to see you in there. Mags K is in there as well. Good to hear all. Gorge Grolt, you said plant life? Definitely. Well, I mean, like I said, to me, it's like a given. And if you're going to block out, like I said, it's the way the ground is, and you're going to block out in between the wheel marks as well as outside. They're rolling around in like patches of like moss and grass and whatever else, and it's just spotty. And this is the reason why I'm just taking the whole area out instead of trying to do this just little spots. Because when you roll through those photos fast, I mean, it's so fast, it's not even funny. It's so you're gonna have to slow it down to the slowest that YouTube allows, which is like quarter speed. And when you do, you literally see all of the manipulation. My God, why? What's the point? Why do that? Exactly, Cord. You said like lichen and moss. Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of that. Then I think there's a lot more than that because we've seen things that look like a little small tree sticking up, like we did in one of the gigapans. Things like that. Damn mad, you said they were nuked and went to Egypt. Well, they might have been, like I said, aware of the pending doom, and they decided, hey, let's get the hell out of this off this planet before it does happen. Who knows? I mean, we don't know exactly what caused it, but we have an idea or a speculation as to what have happened there on that planet. But what would you do if the same thing would happen here? And I think this is the reason why they're trying to set up a civilization on Mars, because if you think about it, if they knew it was a pending doom, like within a week or two, and we're already set up on Mars, you think they're going to stay here? Everybody who's got any kind of money or is anybody is just going to, and off they go. They're going to definitely jump to another planet. They're not going to stay here and just say, well, I'll just hope I survive. Hell no. They're just going to be like, we're out. And so let me just jump right to the bottom of this thing. The Gypsy Queen, what's going on? Oh, King, rather. I'm sorry. I seen this thing as I moved it real quick. So my bad on that. Noodle says, everyone smack that like button. Hammer time. Whoosh. Just don't break your mouse. Not good. Cesar Catalano. Say me and what I said. Okay. Um, Rolando Alves is in there too. What's going on, Rolando? Yep, Alien, you're right about that. Alien Tenno says, where there's water, there's life. Period. And I agree with you. I mean, at some point, some kind of life. It doesn't have to be like we think it's here. Um, but I love the theory, and we talked about this before. I love the theory how they talked about at one time, even going back 65 million years ago when we had the dinosaurs here, that this solar system was in a total different part of the galaxy. Wow! And if you think about how long was it there, so is it possible? Life could have jumped like lily pad, boom, 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 planet to planet, and jumped onto our solar system, started life here. Now in this present position now in the galaxy, maybe they took off from here after. Maybe it was just a, who knows? When I say temporary area to live, when I say temporary, it was probably millions of years ago, or millions of years when they did and whatever. So who knows? Again, we're only guessing. When you hear these NASA talking about this and they think it's that and they think it's this, it's like, yeah, they're doing like these preliminary tests, and I don't think they really know. They're just, I mean, they're trying to find out. That's obvious, right? But I think the people who are really in the know and the higher ups and the elites, they know what's going on, or they've seen what's on Mars, and they're trying to make heads or tails of it, find out what really happened there, right? So yeah, see this one here. Move this one down. Super Dave 44 is in there too. What's going on, Super Dave? Let me see. What's going on, Woodcraft? He said, woohoo, made it. Sweet. Craig McCauley, again, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it. You said if you could visit Mars, what location would you visit first and why? That's a great question, man. Well, seeing that if you go by you have to go by the lander first, right? Which is the Viking lander in 74. I'm sorry, in 75 and 76, right? If you go by that first, you're going to want to see it because it's the first, well, as far as lander, now flybys, there have been plenty because they had the Viking flybys and they had other crafts that went by and stuff like that. But the lander itself, you can imagine the very first pictures. Now, they show the first pictures, but again, they're doctored, so what's the point? But to me, and I still say this, I'll be willing to bet heavy on it, is that they had not only a camera on the lander, but they also had eyes and ears. So you got, because that would be the first two instruments I put on this thing. You know what I mean? And if they didn't, you could just imagine, boom, first pictures it took and then just kind of scanned around. You can't even imagine. But then you got in 97, you had the Sojourner rover, which didn't last very long, came off the lander itself and trying to navigate around rocks, and it got stuck into a rock. Well, it wasn't very big. So, and then of course in 2004, you had the Opportunity and Spirit rovers. Crazy, crazy stuff in these. So I don't know if there's any real defined one I'd want to go, to be truthful with you. Now the Curiosity rover, as well as, I'm trying to remember if it was which one it was, the Opportunity or Spirit. But one of them was just south of the Cydonia region, and I would love to see that area. You know how they talked about, they called it the city on there where there's pyramids and everything else. I'd love to see that. That would be insane. So I guess we'd use that one. But again, thank you very much for your support, man. Appreciate it. Yep, Mimi React said the same thing. Cydonia. Clark's 93. Why orange and I wonder, full of beta carotene? Well, again, and I think the Insight rover, I shouldn't say rover, the Insight lander also has this, but if you go back to Curiosity rover, the Motley cam actually has a little door that flips up and down over the camera, and it's a orange lens. So as soon as they, like I said, just like the later Insight lander, when it landed, like I said, when it first took its first picture, it was all like dust particles on the actual lens of the camera. And then, like I said, but it was blue sky. Everybody's like, oh, wow. You can see the people actually working for NASA go, wow, blue sky. Like I said, 10 seconds later, boom, all orange again. Had that baby puke color, whatever the hell they want to call it. Because they must have said, oh, close the door, and right through an orange lens. What's the point? Why do that? Just show the people the real deal, man. It just makes more sense to me. Yeah, Noodles, you're right about that. You said basically it's a theory, right? Of panspermia has merit, and if you guys are not familiar with that, a lot of you guys are because you've been on here pretty much forever. But for who doesn't know the theory about panspermia, when something hit Mars or any planet, it doesn't matter. But they're saying whatever hit Mars at the time, of course you get all kinds of ejecta because it literally slams the planet. Now, if it was a big rock, like a meteor or whatever, slams Mars and a bunch of ejecta goes flying out into space. Well, there's microbes on them rocks, right? And then, of course, they make their way to different planets, like on Earth. And makes you wonder, though, would it make it onto other planets as well? And would it adapt to its surroundings and its climate and so on and so forth? But that's how the theory of panspermia, that they think that might have sparked life from Mars to here. So some scientists saying we could be the Martians, right? Who knows? Abs03 what's going on, man? Good to have you in there. What's going on, Super Dave? That's a good one. Nothing Burger King. Good people gather here. Yeah, I mean, we got a great bunch of people here. That's why I try to make a note when I put my videos on, and I put a description in the comment section. It's always pinned, and I'll put on a little reminder. So if anybody new wants to join, they can do that, and they can ask questions and everything else, get their shout outs, whatever they want to do. I don't think I've seen that MC Gamer. He said, "Hey Chris, have you seen the movie Europa, one of Jupiter's moons? They find life under the ice. Not a bad movie." No, I haven't seen that. I will have to check it out. Were you seeing it, like Netflix or something, or you seeing on, or was it at the movies itself? MC Gamer, thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Have a beer, mate. It's Happy Friday. Oh yeah, appreciate you. Alien, that's about right. Armstrong's real words. This is one small step for man, rather. One giant cover up for mankind. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we talked about this before, where I think a lot of these videos that were taken, or even a lot of the photos were false, but they actually did go there, and it was all planned. This all was photography and all this other stuff, where they made it like fake for the public to make kind of like a, I don't know if you want to, basically a show, right? But what they really did was actually went to the moon and actually recovered not just rocks, but the real stuff, which would probably be alien tech and stuff like that. Going by judging on what we've seen in these photos, right? Elaine Walls, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. I like that little just dancing around. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. I don't know why that was actually covered up. Mags K, you said, Chris, check out Art Aliens latest vid. In the comments, a guy called G13 Ghosts put up a link. Check it out. Footage of a city, amazing. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's doing great work. Let me go get this one set now. I'm just trying to get everybody's comments and stuff like that, so I don't miss anybody if I can help it. Well, it's not so much that, Cord. You put on the orange filter because Martian plants are orange. It is difficult to mention orange among orange. No, I think they're doing it because, like I said, if you were to take and make, let's say you take a picture of your own, right? Let's say, of course, it couldn't be anything that would definitely give it away. It'd have to be something, let's say a desert, okay? and let's say there's small areas of like small bushes and stuff like that. If you were to put everything one color, then you can't tell a difference between the ground and a tree because everything's the same color. Now make it low res, okay? Then spot blur it, and you'd be none the wiser. People just go, "Oh yeah, it's just a picture of Mars and some rocks." But when you really look at these photos, you can see that they're literally manipulated and obfuscated out. So, I mean, that if nobody believes anything else about it, they have to question at least the idea of what's the deal with manipulating these photos, right? What's the point? Cesar says, "What about Earth to Mars?" Well, that could have happened. I actually speculated that at one time, because even we are supposed to be like in our fifth cycle, where civilization here on Earth probably met similar dooms. In other words, ice ages, catastrophes like great floods or whatever. Whatever might have happened to this planet, and a lot of ancient civilizations believe we're in the fifth cycle. Like the Mayans believe that more than anybody. But um, so how do we know? You know what I mean? Uh, I think back in the day we were a lot more intelligent, or at least sophisticated, than we are now, um, and we might have had life on both planets. Who knows? Maybe we were going back and forth at one time. Pure speculation, but how do we know? And then at one point they said, "Oh, wait a minute, this planet's about ready to be whacked," meaning Mars, or attacked or whatever it might have been, and just simply flew back here, and that was the end of it. Who knows? Lightning Watcher says that's how we got here. Yeah, exactly. That's the way I believe. Bush Corey's in the house. What's going on, Bush? Corey. Yeah, photography like magic. Yeah, he said if anyone is planning to check out the Spirit and Opportunity images, get the real raw photos or files from the analysis notebook. The image quality between the JPEG JPEG to RAW is amazing. Still crap res. Yeah, and that's the sad part. It's like, and again, they make it so if you try to zoom in it, what does it do? It just literally breaks apart. This is the reason why I always, really pump these things up, as far as the DPI, bring them up to like 300 or whatever. Really make these things a lot larger. So when you do zoom in, they don't break up as bad and we can see the details. But if you were to do it on just a normal photo, it literally just pixelates. I mean, it just goes right to crap. And again, low res, smaller photo, spot blurring, digitized out, so on and so forth. That's what happens. And anytime you go to zoom into one of these, they just fall to crap. Craig McCauley, appreciate it, man. Chris, first Mars president. Booyah. Thanks for your support, Craig. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would love to see a photo, seriously, that was untouched. That would be amazing. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, exactly, Noodles. You said, thanks, Chris. You said comments from other systems also qualify. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and like I said, if that happened to Mars and something slammed that planet, it's kind of like here. We had the one was in was I think it was like a mile wide. Was it Nevada? Had that giant crater. What happened there? How do we know stuff didn't fly off of Earth and go to other planets? How do we know it wasn't reversed? How do we know? There's no way of knowing this. But they did say that there was life on Mars at the same time life was on here. Look that up. You'll find that. So if that's true, there's life at the same time. Yeah. Oh, this thing just jumped on me here big time. Elaine, I can see you talking to Mimi there. It's almost like the only way I can describe it is this. This is the way I see why they're doing this. If you show people enough manipulation, what's the first thing that comes to your minds? They're all fake. They're completely fake. It's kind of the same thing they played that crap back in the 70s, I think it was. And I don't know if you guys have seen this because I mentioned this before. They had, and it was a 2020 magazine, and they had the moon landings. And what they found was they highlighted in the upper right corner, there was an actual steel girder. They could see it. So right at the pat, oh, yeah, it's fake. It was staged. It's staged. So what do? You don't put any kind of research into these because you believe they're all bogus. So they're trying to throw the scent off their actual path. That's why I said don't stop looking. Just because these things may look, crappy. Like, in other words, they may look, um, you know, doctored up or whatever. Don't give up on it. There's stuff in those photos. I guarantee it. We've been finding it. So that's why I say, don't give up on them. Just keep looking. Um, because as far as I'm concerned, it's like I said, it's like a reverse psychology. If we show these people enough of manipulation, they'll think the whole thing is bogus, and they won't even put no weight into looking at these. They won't research them. They won't look at them that much, or just kind of go over them. Ah, this is junk, and just keep going. That's what they're hoping. They're hoping you'll stop right there and stop, actually looking into them. I am Stuart Brown. Hey, Chris from Cams, England. What's going on? Good to see you in there. Yeah, you're right about that, Gord. You said what's funny, they obfuscated large details covered with dirt, but left small tubes visible in X3D. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like I said, it's almost like I don't know if they just. I find it hard to believe these people are missing this because if they laid off 250 CGI or people in the CGI department, how many is there actually in that department? So it's almost 0% that these people are missing this stuff. So you can bet that they're leaving this stuff like little breadcrumbs. Maybe like you said, some of you guys had suggested maybe they were disgruntled and they said, well, why don't we just go ahead and leave these in? It won't look that bad. We'll just put small details on and leave them in there. How do we know? Daniel, what's going on? Daniel Webster says, I don't think this was the first civilization. The Indians have stories of battles on the moon. They would have to be very intelligent to come up with a story. I don't think it's science fiction. I don't think so. It is. I don't think so either. When you look at the Mahabharata from the India Sanskrit, right? Again, we've talked about this before, where you've got, I always question. I said, did they have like sci-fi writers back in the day? Because they talked about great battles in the sky with weapons going off like shooting, and it was brighter than the sun. So were there sci-fi writers back in the day? Talking thousands of years ago. I don't think so. And most of these people are not going to make this stuff up. They're gonna write or what's the word we want to use? Carve, like when you got cuneiform texts from the Sumerians. They found it. They thought it to be important to write about, so it had to have been something really important in their lives. Simple as that. Craig, yeah, that's a good one. Making Mars blue again. Um, Rob Thomas, I get a lot of this. I get the same question all the time. Why do they even release the images that they have to touch up and hide objects? Why wouldn't it make sense to just release the pictures of barren ground? Could save money on image manipulation. This is the reason why I believe they're real photos. Okay. And the reason for that is because they're having to manipulate them out. In other words, if it was taken here on Earth, they could have went to any large desert on our planet and just took photos and just put an orange filter over them, right? Wouldn't it have been just as easy? But they're not. They're having to take these photos and manipulate them out. Manipulate them, or obfuscate them, whatever you want to say. Um, so if you think about it, that's what makes me believe that they're absolutely real. And the other reason is because I believe they're in a ruined city, and everywhere that rover turns, there's pots there. There's stuff laying all over them. This is the reason why they're there. And because this thing's just slowly navigating its way through all of this debris and ruins and everything else, they're having to take all of this stuff out. That's what makes me believe this is absolutely real photos. Now, the digitized information over it clearly isn't. It's garbage. We all know that. And in the last Gigapan, I showed you where it looked like this gray, supposed to be sand dunes, right? But they actually have just a gray to cover a lot of the areas, and it was completely squared off. I mean, you can see an edge. I'm like, what the? Come on. Take it easy, my Martian friends. Love and peace to you. Damn, man, you taking off? If you are, man, you have yourself a good weekend coming up there, right? Samsung Note 10 is the king. Frustrated that they don't cover it better. No, actually, I I'm frustrated that they do cover it, period. I mean, a lot of people have shown their frustration. You guys have voiced it yourselves, saying, "Man, I wish they wouldn't do that." I mean, it's our taxpayers' money. Well, like I said, I think they're just stealing it now from, doesn't matter now. They just take whatever they want. But I strongly believe that I wish they wouldn't cover them at all. But because they do, I'm kind of glad that they're actually leaving some of this stuff out, or well, some of it they're leaving out, but then some of it you can find. Like I said, if you were to picture this microphone, right? Like you find half it's like tan or pukey orange, like the ground, and the rest of it's white. How the hell's that work? So it's almost like they're purposely doing a half-assed job of covering this stuff. That's what I think. And then some of the stuff you can literally see like little objects and it looks like mechanical things and structures and but they're doing their best to make them look like buttes and hillsides and everything else. So I'm glad that they're letting out the stuff, but I wish they'd be a little bit more free with it. That'd be nice. I'm sure everybody can concur with that. Alien Tenno, you said the moon is not a natural body. Its size and distance from Earth is fake. Also, 90% of the craters have same depth, but vastly different sizes. The Doppler effect is a huge giveaway. Well, I've been saying that too. Like we've been talking about Alien, right? We've been saying that a lot of these craters that you see, just look at the really good photos from the LROC where they're crystal clear. I mean, you can just see how clear they are. And of course, they've a lot of manipulated too, but there you can see where it looks like you can actually see the moon where it's you can see that it's spherical and you can see it's got that nice curve to it. And there's a large crater right there. But yet, wait a minute, I thought the crater was supposed to be indented into the moon. We're not seeing it concave. We're seeing it still convex, like the actual shape of the moon. Look at a smaller one next to it; it's the same depth. Now the walls or the crater wall may be higher. Think about that a minute. So if the moon is completely, round, we're going to say it's round. It may not be a perfect sphere, but let's say it's round. But yet you get higher walls of these craters. Doesn't matter the diameter, but the height is different. What the hell? So it's almost like they took this outer skin and just slapped it on this perfectly smooth ball. And so that's why a lot of people are probably saying this thing's fake. And, it's actually some kind of, who knows, maybe it's another alien planet, but it's supposed to be our moon, our satellite, right? Who knows, right? I've seen so many things on that moon. You just go, wow, it blows away what you've been taught. Let's just put it that way. Dan, you said, good for us. Government that fears the people is called freedom people. That fear the government is called tyranny. Yeah, absolutely. Move that. We're told life was here hundreds of millions of years ago in dinosaurs. Why not on Mars? Why not? You know, um, I'm gonna forget his name now. I hate that. But there are people who claim that they were in a jump room. They went over to like Mr. Basiago, uh, William White Crow. They all claim that they were like soldiers on this planet on Mars, and that there was actually dinosaurs there. Now I find that a little hard to swallow. Maybe they weren't dinosaurs, but they described them something like that. That they said these things would literally attack you if you just turned the wrong way. So they literally would, have to protect themselves. And it's like they go into the jump room and come out, and you're literally on the surface of Mars. And that they said that these creatures were everywhere. So they have like the military there, and that they protect the people that are there and stuff from these creatures. I don't know if I'm willing to swallow that story because it seems a little far fetched to me. I'm not saying it can't be. I'm just saying I just find it a little hard to believe, right? What do you guys think? You think that sounds right or true? Mike Hoover, what's going on? He said, "What's up, my peeps? What's going on?" Renee Cruz, what's going on? You said scary, maybe extraterrestrial aliens and God created uh, the coronavirus. Elaine, yeah, it's good. Yeah, no, I get frustrated because you can see some details, just a small trail of breadcrumbs. Exactly, I'm the same way. I think everybody's voiced that, right? All right, Greg, thank you again. Appreciate you. You said, what do you think they will find with a metal detector on Mars? Good Lord, who knows? I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it's this. No, I think ESA was supposed to put a rover up there. One, it's supposed to have like a 6 foot drill bit, believe it or not, and the other instrument was supposed to be a radar, and it was supposed to penetrate, I think, 75 to 100 feet below the Martian surface. Why do you think they need that stuff? What do they need that for? I think they're just drilling into rocks. Like they said, the 2020 rover, it's going to be actually 2020. It's 2020, but it's built anyway. But it's 2021. It'll be on Mars. But kind of wish the damn thing was already up there. But the 2021, they said, oh, this time we're going to drill sideways into rocks. What the hell's the difference between anybody know the difference between going straight down and obviously the direction? But I mean, what's the difference they'll find? Is it their, I don't understand. Maybe the layering of the rock has something to do with it. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I don't know. Renee says, diehard faithful San Francisco 49ers Empire guaranteed Super Bowl victory win. Whoop, whoop. Pump it up, babies. But, Craig, again, I don't know. If they went up there with that kind of stuff, I think that thing would be like going crazy. I mean, if they had any kind of detectors on Mars, I think that thing would be absolutely going crazy. And how do we know, just because they tell the public what instruments are on these rovers, how do we know they didn't put a couple others on there? How do we, they might have already had kind of like a metal detection kind of thing underneath the belly of it. I mean, it only has to just travel over, right? And just see if there's anything in the ground. And maybe it's already had its own small radar on there, but whether they did or didn't is immaterial. If they did, then they already see what's below the rover right off the bat, and that's what I think the rover Orlando from ESA again. Um, if they find something with a radar, ground penetrating radar, they'll stop drill. So it makes you wonder, what are they drilling for? More rock. Okay, whatever. Bobby Pentland, what's going on? Well, speaking, at least the curtain is moving and my phone is not frozen. Okay. Let me hit this again. Go back down here. Jump down here. Justy, you said, Chris, it keeps amazing me how much stuff is there, Mars, Moon, how widespread. This is a civilization, not just an alien outpost. Yeah, I mean, again, I believe Mars was a lot like we are today. And I think it was us, or very similar to us, on that planet. Pure speculation. I'm going by what we're seeing in the photos. This stuff wasn't just simple. It's not rocks. It's not, I mean, you can see, like I showed that last pan I did with that last outcrop. You could clearly see that block, or whatever that thing is. It was like a rectangular block, like a dark color, but on the top of it was like a lighter tan, and then it had another uh, like opening or feature on it that was the same shape as the actual block or whatever that thing was. And then you go to the left side of it where it's overhanging, you can see what looks like some kind of white framing or something in there where they literally try to block it out. It's not a rock. They're not rocks. They're literally making them look like rocks. And I encourage everybody to look at these photos closely. This is the reason why we check them out, and then you get of course, you get the pan or the pictures depending on what we look at, right? Nomad 1776, judging from pictures you're posting, you are posting. Mars has lots of mushroom-like vegetation. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's due to the blur though, or it's or it is actually something similar to that. It could it could very well be the blur that maybe is throwing it off. What do you think? I don't know. Clerks, not a bad idea either. You said maybe Mars is full of gold, and if not gold, maybe resources, right? There might be. I'm sure they're up there for more than one reason. Because think about this: if there was a civilization, if there was a civilization up there, think about this: what did they use to fuel up, to use for electricity, to do this, to do that? So, is it possible they had something similar to what we have here on Earth? Who knows? What did they power their stuff up with? Whether it be transportation, their energy for their homes or whatever they use, right? How do we know? Renee, you said Fade to Black with Jimmy Church. Yep, good show. Mimi reacts. I wonder how big these mounds are. Well, you know what's funny? Like I said, I've showed that one where I had the mound in front, and they claimed it's around 16 feet tall. So some of these things are not as big as you think, and then some of them I think are gigantic. Because that same photo I showed you, I went to the left and you can see the other two in the back, and they look like structures. It looked like I had a corner of a structure and coming down. I don't think that's a butte or a mound at all. It's a structure. You could just see just from the stuff that's in there, and it had like a cutout, or you can see a flat face, and it had like you can see the line where that thing actually ended, went up, and then came back down on the bottom of it like this. It's smooth. There's like a concrete or something there that they use to either who knows if they didn't make the structures out to look like buttes, maybe camouflage for some reason. They just made it into it and then, just made their own walls or outer casing, if you will, right? Who knows? It's hard to tell. Mark Matheny said, hi, Chris. And what's going on, Mark? Good to have you in there. Maybe looking for element 115 that Lazar talks about. That could be too. Like I said, I think they have an idea what they're looking for, or they already know what they're there for, because clearly they wouldn't send these missions to just nowhere or just yeah, eeny, meeny, miny, oh, throw a dot on. So to me, it makes more sense that they knew exactly where they're going to land these rovers and landers, and they knew exactly what they were going for. Again, if you have a camera with a telescope or a telescoping lens, um, so you have this thing that can see within a 4-foot swath on the Martian surface. You know damn well what they were there for, and exactly where to land these again landers and rovers, right? So when you look at this thing, you just the high rise camera on board the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. Again, if you're like 5'10", 6 foot, and getting yourself in a fetal position, that's about you can literally fit in that camera. That's how big it is. And it's like it can take a picture or a swath of 4 feet on the ground on the Martian surface. Again, they knew exactly what they were looking at, and they knew exactly they wanted to get not boots on the ground, but they got wheels on the ground, cameras all over the stuff, and they got the turret arms, so they can literally look at this thing, look down, up, and around it, and yeah, who knows? Drill it with drill it. Use a rat tool, which is a rock abrasion tool. They have all kinds of stuff and tools on that turret for a reason. Yeah, we're just looking at rocks. Be all right. Papa White, you said you would think with all the leaks going on rather, someone would release some authentication of what's on Mars. I guarantee it's going to happen. Somebody's going to slip up. It's going to happen at some point. As far as NASA, JPL, these guys here, again, slow disclosure, unless somebody gets disgruntled and says, oh, by the way. I don't give a shit if they shoot me tomorrow. You know what I mean? They may just go, I'm just tired of it. You just never know. You know what I mean? And they're doing the slow disclosure stuff to get us acclimated to what we're seeing. So if they ever said, again, all right, perfect example. If they said tomorrow, hey, we found a structure, what looks like a man made structure, how shocked would you guys be? Now you might go, oh my God, it confirms what we've been seeing in these photos, but that's going to be the end of it. You're going to be excited. And that's pretty much it. So Mario's Meneses. What do you think of the Saturn moon that looks like a Death Star? You must be talking about Iapetus from Star Wars and the alien ship and the moon from Apollo 20. Greetings from Athens, Hellas, Greece. Um, yeah, Iapetus, I believe, is the moon you're talking about. It actually looks like it has the giant weapon, like it was on the Death Star and Star Wars and everything else. And I think that's where he got his actual George Lucas got his maybe his ideas for that particular moon. Or remember, he said that's not a moon, that's a Death Star, or that's a space station. Um, but yeah, it's really funky. I mean, it's pretty cool, that just seeing that. Um, I'm not sure about the Apollo 20. They talked about the Mona Lisa, they called her. It was supposed to be that little alien or whatever. Looks a lot like us. Now, I'm not saying it can be ruled out completely. I'm just saying I have my doubts, 50-50, that that's even real. But again, I also stand by what I said. And I said that I don't think they stopped at Apollo 17. I think they kept going. Because if they're just up there to look at rocks, and I've said this before, the first couple missions, you go, looking for rocks and checking out different things. Now, they have landed in different areas of the moon, of course. But if they're just up there looking for rocks, makes sense. But why keep going all these missions? Because once you've gotten these rocks, right, there can't be too much difference in the rocks from maybe 50 miles away, 100 miles away to there. I guess it could, depending on if it was next to a crater, right? It could be actually different. But as far as anything else, it's like, why are you there that many missions unless there was something to gain by it? You're taking chances with people's lives and you're going up there. And these guys had to agree to it because you can imagine their thought, right? First mission. So you guys want to go to the moon? I don't know. I feel like living. So maybe not. So these guys risked themselves to go up there. But if they said they were just going up there for rocks, they probably would have said, man, it's just rocks. Can you just send a machine there, get this stuff, and can you just bring it back? But wait a minute. Let's debrief you first. First of all, there's structures on the moon and there's spaceships and everything else. Oh, I'm in. I mean, what would you guys do? If they just said it's rocks, would you risk your life to go to the moon? I don't think so. Now, if they told me there's structures there, what look like downed or crashed spacecraft, be all over it. I mean, there's no way around it. I know I would. Yep, abs 0303. He said, saw a news feed stating U.S. changing legislation for NASA to focus on getting to Mars and not the moon. You know why? Soul hats, man. They've already been there, done that, seen it. However, they are going to put bases on there, of course, eventually. What is it, like 2025 they want to get up there? So, hard to tell. Pete's Vlogs, what's going on, man? Appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Always appreciate it. But I mean, what would you guys do? I mean, would you go to, like I said, would you go to the moon for simple rocks? Why would you risk your life for that? But knowing that you can go to see something that nobody else will see, well, within reason, unless it gets leaked out or we find it in the photos. But oh my God, I'd be like, so there. You cannot see this any other place. Nowhere. Dark Chalk, Little Chalk, what's going on? What's up? At Jim, we'll pump on, we'll jump on in 30 minutes. All right, man. Renee Cruz, you said metal UFO found. Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff on that on the moon. I mean, like I said, I want to show you this next one coming up, and I think it was the Apollo 15. I may be wrong because I've looked at a bunch of photos recently. So yeah, I mean, just the stuff you're going to see in there, and it's not clear. That's what sucks. And you'll understand why because I'm going to show you the manipulation that they really put over this stuff. So all you see is like a silhouette of these objects, and you just go, "Wow, that is crazy, man!" But it's there. Mags K says Brexit is official. So you guys are on your own again, independent, right? Kenneth Lay, I thought about that. Good to see you in there, Kenneth. You said maybe sideways drilling capabilities to peek inside, i.e., structures. Well, that's the other thing I thought about too, Kenneth. You make a great point. And I said that. I said, is it possible that, you know, when they send that 2020 rover up there in 2021, they're going to have the helicopter. Now, the helicopter to me makes no damn sense other than flying up and into something that the rover cannot get to. Or if it's something on a platform, because clearly the rover can't fly. It can only go up so much of a steep incline. So by having a helicopter, can you literally go in there, fly, come back. It's a 7-minute charge that thing has. So if they see something important, send it, goes in there, comes back out, takes photos, of course, comes back out and lands back on the rover, recharges itself. And in fact, I think it actually goes under. The way they talk, it goes under the underbelly, which I don't understand that. It would have to be almost like these chargers you see for your phones nowadays, like the wireless charger. It would have to be something similar to that. That's all there is to it. So I think that's going to be more the case. But a helicopter, for what freaking reason? They're claiming that it's going to be for navigation to make sure the rover can navigate. Well, wait a minute. There's no helicopter there now. How is the 2012 rover doing it? That's why I'm saying I don't believe that. I think it's crap. And I think that to me, they're using that to go into things that rover cannot go into, or up a lot higher and going into, or just taking an aerial photograph, right? How do we know? I'd be curious to see what they show, how much they show of that, or they're going to say, oh, we thought the thing could fly, but it tried to and it crashed and we can't get it to respond. And that'll be the end of it. You watch and see. And that kind of sucks. Nice guy. He said, "Yeah, that's BS. Chris, get your get your rock off at NASA." Well, like I said, I'm just curious how this is all going to play out. I think they may be changing up the way they manipulate and stuff like that because they're literally because of this new rover, and they're figuring the best way they could try to hide this because it's supposed to have better cameras, bigger photos, so better quality and bigger photos, and it's going to have all the cameras are better. So are we going to see the same crap we're seeing here? Something tells me we are. Unless, of course, they go, oh, look what we found, right off the bat to try to, and then they can try to use a little bit better and more normal photos, right? Raw photos, as they claim they are. Yeah. Mario's, you said the moon of Saturn is Iapetus. Yes, this one. What is it? Well, basically, it's a moon. Now, I don't know if it's any more than that. I haven't really looked into it. I don't know if anybody else has, but Mimi reacts. I'm the same way, man. I just like you said, you can't wait to see it in the 21 photos. Yeah, I'd be curious to see that too because, yeah, crazy stuff. Let me see this here. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This was actually an older article, and it said, I think it was, what does it say? April 30th, 2018. And remember we were talking about this, like if they took a poll, what would happen? Well, I found this page that says, how would humanity react if we really found aliens? Oh, man. It says, if aliens reach out to us, what would happen first? It's a question that has puzzled sci-fi fans and scientists alike for decades. And we already may have a hint of how people would react. And of course, there's going back to the H.G. Wells, which I talked about before. It said the dramatized version of the 1898 H.G. Wells novel, The War of the Worlds. And that's the one I told you about where people were watching or listening rather. They were listening on the radio and they thought it was real. So people were literally jumping off of buildings and everything else. But I'm going, why would they use such a stupid scenario? This was back when? Yeah. So to me, it doesn't make any sense. You would actually equate people back then to now. People are so desensitized to it now, it doesn't even matter. So, but and they're talking about the radio broadcast and everything else. I said the radio broadcast caused a reaction when people mistook it for a real radio report. By accounts vary as to how much of the reaction there was. Um, what does it say? Some accounts describe national panic, while others say not very many people actually listen to the broadcast, which is, you know, it's almost like NASA's hoping the same thing for these photos. Well, not too many people look at them, so we'll just kind of under the rug. And I think that's what they're doing, right? But let me see. I'll give you guys the link to that. It's pretty cool how they explain that, but it's kind of like, so they're taking these polls, and guess what? This is, I believe, this is from space.com. So this is not just like some silly newspaper page or something like that, right? Here's a link to that if you guys want to check it out. 420 Alien, what's going on? Didn't even see you sneak in there. Good to have you in there. Simo, you put on there, Chris, can you someday do a video where you speculated some of Jean photo? I'm not sure what you're getting at there. Almost like you're saying Jean Ward. Dan, you said there's no reason for the helicopter but to examine things the rover can't get into, such as a door that would really be something to see in the inside of a Martian building. Well, or it's just going to fly up and over things. So either way, what are they looking for and what are they hoping to find? Or they already know what they want to look at, because keep in mind the rover is still in the same spot. Now, the new 2021 rover is supposed to be in a different spot. But regardless of where these things are at, they must have seen more structures or something that interests them. And this is the reason why they want to go. So same rover, different tools on it, and different experiments and stuff they want to do, plus a helicopter. What's that tell you? So, they're definitely looking at something and they're definitely interested. And they're not going to spend all that is freaking money and time to build these things. It's just crazy just to go up there and see a barren planet, when they already knew, quote unquote, that it was barren and lifeless back in 75 and 76 when the Viking lander had took a scoop of the soil, analyzed it, sent back the information. According to them, was dead then. So what are we looking at? Another dead planet. Oh, let's look at some more rocks. You can believe that if you like. I don't. I don't believe it 1 minute. Marios, you said, is the moon a reptilian base? What do you think? Oh, who was the one that always talks about that? They're always talking about, a lot of, reptilian people. I find that part hard to swallow. I don't know if that's a possibility. Now, I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibilities, because if you think about it, we're going to call them aliens or other species of people, whatever they may be, creatures, whatever they are from other planets. They could be just like us, but maybe very similar, but not completely like us because of their atmosphere and how they adapted, right? So, might have bigger eyes, maybe bigger nostrils for the nose, maybe no ears, bigger ears, who knows, right? For their particular planet. And they could vary. So that's a possibility. But the first thing I think of is like straight alien. I mean, like this lizard kind of walking around. I don't know if I believe all that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it just seemed a little bit weird, right? Yeah, maybe. There you go. You look inside the building, like, hey, they're like, cheers. Martian just sitting there like, yeah, what the hell? Oh, you were saying, yeah, Jean Ward. Yeah, John Ward does really good work. He works with a lot of satellite photos. He does really good work. In fact, when I did that other Gigapan where it looked like that weird craft or whatever the heck that thing was in the back, some of you guys said it kind of reminded you kind of like a yurt kind of thing where it had that kind of shape to it. That's not a mountain. Whatever that thing is, we're just speculating as it could be, right? So we're just purely speculating. But how do we know what this thing is? We don't. But we can almost tell that clearly it's not natural. So Um, and somebody had said that it looks just like something that Jean Ward had said, where it looked like some kind of round structure with details on top of it. The only difference is he's seen the top view of it, and I'm showing like the rover view of it. So yeah. LMW, hello, great video, Chris. Regarding Neil Armstrong, is it possible that he made a recorded video or written statement to be released to the public after his death about what he saw on the moon? Neil's still alive, so I don't know if you're talking about. Oh man, I'm gonna forget his name right now. Um, it's possible. I mean, this is the way I look at it. If I was one of these astronauts, I would do that. I would literally, unless of course they're afraid for the rest of their family because they might have said, well, even after your death, uh, you know, if we find that you've said anything or somebody let it out, we'll go after the rest of your family. Who knows? It's hard to tell, but I would actually do that. You know what I mean? Make your own videos, so on and so forth, and then say, "Hey, release this." Make it like anonymous, where it gets released somehow out of nowhere, and there you go. I would do that. Milk coffee, please. Greg McCauley said 2020 rover will have a malfunction and the camera will not work. Right, I can see it now on the news. Yeah, because it's almost like, let's say they put this superior, like vehicle on there, right? And you say, wow, this is going to be great. We're going to see all kinds of photos. Like I said, they they had a test cell where they had the helicopter in it, and I showed it on one of my videos where you could see this thing fly. So it was really, and it's good size, man. This thing's huge. It's not this little tiny helicopter. This thing's good size, right? And it's got the dual blades on it. I think I don't know if they counter each other. I forget on that particular one, but they simulated the atmospheres, like the pressure on the air pressure and everything else, and this test cell, and that thing flew. Now they might say, "Well, it was trying to take off, and somehow the blades hit the deck of the rover. Now it's junk. We can't use it." Darn, that doesn't mean it is. I'm not saying mistakes can't happen, and this thing couldn't have an accident, but you know, to me, I just hope that they let out more than what they've been doing. I just hope they do that. That'd be awesome. Hold on a second. Whoop. Uh, doot, 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 doot. All right. Oh yeah, it was my bad on that. But anyway, hold on. Oh, you guys were right. What the hell am I thinking? Neil Armstrong. Yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm trying to think of. No, there was another one that had just recently passed away in the last few years too. I'm drawing a blank on it because I'm thinking of planets and the video I just did today. So I'm actually drawing a blank on a lot of this. Um, Marius, you said I think the real aliens are angels and demons. What do you think? What do you think? I don't believe in the angels and demon thing. I think they're just like the ancient civilizations talked about their gods coming down from the heavens, right? They had to think about this a minute. Now, maybe it's just me. Maybe you guys can give me your input. If just I want you to imagine being back in the ancient times and you're there and this craft comes out of nowhere. Now, clearly you're going to think of them as gods, right? Because clearly there's no flight. You can't fly. Nothing flies other than something natural, maybe a bird or whatever, right? So right off the bat, you see this thing come down. Wow, they're far more superior than us. So they land. Can you imagine them looking like reptilian people? That would probably freak the shit out of people. So I'm thinking they had to look a lot like us. And I think when people refer to the angels and stuff like that, or a demon, I think that they're actually people like us, but they consider them gods and everything else because of the way they appeared to them. Again, they all talk about it. Just about every religious book talks about how their gods came down from the heavens and came down to earth. And that may be the actual reason. Who knows, right? Larry Galecki, you said Mars was beginning when masters were there to create mankind and life on Earth for 1 million years. Well, I mean, I don't know about all that, but I mean, if you think about it, again, we're starting to see that humankind, intelligent humans, have been here over a quarter million years, half a million years. And every time the more they check into this, the more we're saying, oh, wow, we're older than we thought. I mean, and so, it's hard to tell exactly when we first were here, but who knows? Well, I like the connection that they make. Even NASA says this. They say, well, Mars was a lot like Earth when we had life on Earth. So was there a dual civilization going on back then? And we were just kind of going back and forth. And then one met its demise. Who knows, right? Ab0303 said Tic Tac UFO sighting by U.S. military, undeniable proof of other life here. Well, now I don't know if you've seen that, but they're trying to say that chances are it's military. Hmm. So, okay. So, again, they're trying to downplay this. Now, it could very well be, but where did they get the technology? So, um, regardless, there's other beings out there. Period. Whether it's ours or not, we had to have gotten an information or technology from somewhere. But like I said, even back in the day, they were working on. I think it was 1920, 1930. They started discovering, anti-gravity and everything else. So that's a long time to mess with this stuff. And if you got enough money thrown into a project, you can achieve it. So, yeah. Mr. Gossamer, what's going on? He said, hey, Frax Centurion's in there. What's going on? He said, good morning. Must be a Saturday morning for you. Yes, Simo. Yeah. When you read the story of Anunnaki, that is mind blowing. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Pete Ferrero. Yeah. I remember seeing that one. He said, Ancient Alien Season 2, Angels and Aliens. Again, maybe they, when you think angels, right? You see them coming from the sky down, and you say, "Wow, they're floating, they're flying." So maybe that's what they thought, right? It's hard to tell. And like I said, it was just their interpretation back in the day about what they saw. When all in all, it might have been just people like ourselves and crafts that they built. Were they just aliens? When I say aliens, I hate to say aliens because it's like little grays. But then again, who knows, right? So, like I said, it didn't freak them out. So they must have said, "Oh, they have an appearance like us." So I didn't think nothing of it. What do you guys think? Andrew Haberman's in there. Watch the latest video from third phase of the moon. Amazing UFO footage taken by pilot above the clouds. Yeah, they're starting to see more and more of this. So I'm wondering whether it's almost like they're trying to let that cat out of the bag too. Like the military's got this stuff. So are they trying to say it's kind of like if you were to say what would be if you're the military, what would be the worst of two scenarios? Well, if we tell them that it's not ours, and people go, yeah, 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 UFO. So come on, spill the beans. Or it's ours. Oh wow, can you tell us more about this craft you made? See the difference? One is right here, we made it. Where okay, we'll have to explain to them. They're never going to tell you what it is or what it can do because it's top secret. But they'll say, "Yeah, it's ours." So and so. And then, but if they were to say, "No, it's not ours. It's from out there," well, there's a whole lot more questions to answer, right? Yeah. Good evening from Connecticut. Jerry says, "What's going on?" Good to see you in there. Let's see to jump up on me again. Mr. Gossman says, "LOL. Hey, just checking in. First time on Friday night. Great video today. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I just literally put that thing on. It was at, I don't know if it was an hour or two before this Hangout. I said, I got another one for these guys. Let them check it out. Like I said, if you guys haven't, I got the link here. If you guys want to check it out. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You'll find interesting stuff there. And like I said, I'm only going to put the moon stuff, anything that's got any moons, on this channel, the lunar anomalies and beyond. This way we can keep it separated. But there's a link to it right there if you guys want to check it out after. Um, but yeah, crazy stuff, man. And I think, and we said it before, even a lot of you guys agree that the we think that the whole solar system has been had life on it at some point, and I do strongly believe that. And if because we're a binary star system, at least we were a binary solar system, I should say, we have a burned out sun. Now, one's a lot further out, and of course, the other one is the one we actually orbit. We orbit, so you got two of them. So if they had sun shining in both ends of the solar system, heat going to each of the solar system, how do we know there wasn't life on every single planet in our solar system and then some? And then some scientists are saying that no, our solar system is much bigger. It's much bigger. It's not eight, nine planets, whatever. It's many more. They're finding they're actually stretching out more and they're actually orbiting our sun. That's crazy because and it's not far fetched because you go, well, there clearly can't be any life on there because the planets are way out there. Well, it's not true. If that other sun was still alive, and I think it's a dwarf now, or whatever it is, a burned out dwarf, or if it's a burned out star, then at some point it still had, it was still there. It was another sun. So clearly would have been heating all the planets. How do we know? Again, we're just finding out, guys. We're like just toddlers learning how to walk, and even though we get this high tech, we're still unfamiliar with our backyard and outside of our house. And that's basically what it's all about. And I think they're learning more and more and more about it. But they do know and have known about alien life long ago, way long ago, because of just stuff they see. Like I said, if the first time if you've seen something on the moon with a telescope, first of all, you're going to want to get there. Once you got there, you clearly know it's none of ours, meaning Soviet Union at the time, United States, or any other country. You know it's not theirs. So clearly, you have to say to yourself, okay, wait a minute. It's not ours. Nobody on the planet. So clearly there's life. And if it's on the moon, you know it's anywhere else, probably in our solar system. And this is the reason why they're scattering out, going to every darn moon or planet in our solar system to find out what's there. Because they're saying clearly there's something there. If it's on our moon, which is our closest celestial body, then you can almost bet your butt that there's some on all of these planets and moons, or at least close to it, right? Either they took, maybe some resources from the moons or the planets, whatever, lived on them. One way or the other, they're saying, we got to get to these other planets. It's as simple as that. Butter M says, Vimanas. Yes, absolutely. Doc Talk, Little Chuck. Yeah, he said with NASA in it, our solar system rather, is also full of crap. Well, this is what I'm saying, and I agree with you guys. To me, it's first of all, it's frustrating as hell. But I already know we've already surpassed and jumped and hurdle that part about what they're trying to hide. So now we're just trying to read between the lines and find the breadcrumbs. And some of the stuff, even a lot of you guys are turning up because you guys send me some of the stuff, and I am going to get to it. You know what I like to do? I like to put uh, like a list of all your findings and just make like a short like a slide show kind of thing of what you guys have found. And because a lot of times you guys will put something on and you'll label it, and then what I'll do is I'll just put those on there, those pictures, and just slowly put them on. You know what I'm saying? Just throw the things on there and do it like a slideshow. I think you guys will be all right with that, right? Kenneth Lair, thank you very much. I appreciate you as usual. He said, Chris, it is obvious to me that there was intelligent life on Mars at one time. Have you seen any evidence that they would have been more advanced or more intelligent than us? It's a great question because it's kind of like, again, Kenneth, thank you. I appreciate you. Um, keep touching the wrong damn mouse here. I want to make sure this thing's down so I get all of the up to date messages. Um, it's almost like we have a lot of things, and I know you guys would agree that there's a many things that are just like we have here on Earth. How is that possible? Now, some people will say, "Oh, no, it's just Earth." Like they just refuse to believe that it could be any other planet. I mean, I find that really weird. It's like they say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, it is absolutely that," but clearly it's got to be Earth then. I mean, why are people so not wanting to accept the fact that there could be life on another planet and very similar to ours? This is the reason why I say with the things we're finding, because there is like high tech. You can find what looks like some kind of transportation. I did one that looked like a train, like a bullet train way back in the day, where the photo was so whited out, but once you brought it out and brought out the darker areas, this thing looked like a bullet train coming out between two mountains. Really wild looking. And I did one that looked like a Jeep kind of weird car or some weird thing. I think they had stuff just like we have now, maybe more advanced, but people then go, well, then clearly they're not too advanced if they lived inside, like I said, hills and mountains and whatever, buttes and whatever. No, I think they could be just as advanced, if not more, because they can have high technology inside these things. In other words, build a room, all kinds of rooms inside there where, and all the high tech's in it, it just looks like outside. It's camouflaged. Was there a reason why they did that at one point? Who knows? I don't know. Sweet Nellies you put in there. People long ago thought they were seeing flying carpets. Well, and that's true. Well, here's the funny part. Back then, see, right now we can say it's a UFO, unidentified flying object. When back then, how would you describe that? See, we're desensitized. We have movies out there like Independence Day and all kinds of things. So we see UFOs, we see spacecraft, Star Trek. Way back in the day, had Space 1999, all kinds of like these sci-fi shows, right? Battlestar Galactica, all of these. So we're so used to seeing stuff like that. We go, wow, UFO, or that is some kind of spacecraft, because everybody's got phones now, right? I mean, everybody with a darn phone now can just like look at it and stuff in within reason. I mean, the camera's not that great, at least not from a distance away. But so now everybody can see this, and it's like you can know that. But what about way back in the day? How would you describe that? Hey, there's a flying figamajiggy. I mean, they would never know. They wouldn't know what the hell the thing was even called or what it was until, of course, they started seeing a lot more of it, I guess, right? Yeah, Andrew, I agree with you. Andrew Haberman says our solar system is teeming with life, especially Mars. And I think a lot of the moons are. I think other planets are. It doesn't matter. Life will find a way. Extremophiles will find a way. Very hot temperatures, very cold temperatures, low atmosphere, very low oxygen, so on and so forth. Maybe real high oxygen. Maybe they live more on carbon, dioxide. Who the hell knows? Just because we can't, our bodies can't be healthy and live that way doesn't mean anything. Now, I was telling you guys before about how they think our body is more in tune with Mars. As far as the day, I think it's like, what, 40 minutes longer? As far as a full day is like 40 minutes longer on Mars. What the funny thing about it, somebody had mentioned this before, and I find it pretty interesting. They talked about how we're also more in tune with Mars because they claim that this is the reason why we get sunburned. I'm going, well, how do you make that connection? Well, if you got less sun on Mars, even if it got warm, got less sun, you probably wouldn't burn. So in some ways, it kind of makes sense. It's kind of cool to think about that too. You're like, okay, and because of the gravity is probably a little less, you wouldn't be having like problems with your bones. You wouldn't burn in the sun. The days just seems to be, like I said, it's just long enough. It seems to work with us. Look that stuff up, guys. It's really interesting read. I read that more than once on different pages, and I found that really interesting, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit. If you guys haven't given me a thumbs down, slam that thumbs down, or thumbs up rather. I was gonna say hit the thing down, but I said thumbs down. Not good, right? Hit that thumbs up. In the video of John Brandenburg, saw him saying that the civilization on Mars was primitive and that they look like us by parallel evolution. Lucky Mull, yeah. You know what? And you make a great point. Now, he had said that, and I didn't agree with that. Not based on what I'm seeing in these photos, at least based on that. Now, I like a lot of the stuff that he does and what he talks about. And and again, he's not some loony. He's actually, real, the real deal. So I don't think they were primitive like we want to believe, right? But you kind of get that weird thing when you think about it because you're thinking, they lived in, like I said, the kind of like caves and structures, or like these dunes, or buttes, or call them what you want, depending on the size, right? Um, so did they live in that and they just use it as camouflage? I think that's actually intelligent. I think it's brilliant because if you have enemies, how the hell would they know you're there? They had to check every friggin' mound. I mean, it's just crazy. But like I did that last video where it showed like that trap door, it looked like it was very thick. Now, keep in mind, it's kind of like a bunker we'd have today with the very thick doors. So it would make sense if they had this thick door, boom, close it and lock it. They got a good chance of surviving. And, it wouldn't surprise me if they had stuff like that. I don't know. Susan Ann, I didn't know you jumped in there. Good to see you in there. He said, I've seen a UFO with two other people, no question about it. Seeing is believing. This was in the mid 80s. That was when I first seen my last one, too. It was probably, I'm going to say it was like 83, 84. Yeah. And it's undeniable because nothing that time, at least nothing you've seen, could actually fly or maneuver the way that thing did. At least for me, it didn't. Kenneth Proctor said, "Hi, Chris. Great stuff in your last two Mars videos. That will keep me looking for a while." Oh, absolutely. And don't forget to check out the new, what do you call it, too? My moon video. And it's not our moon, it's Enceladus, Saturn's moon. Renee, you said, Chris, you changed your Sunday UFO fam show to Saturday and now Friday just as long as I get the ping. Well, the reason why I did that, I don't know if you knew that, Renee, if you heard me say it before, is because, like I said, my son's in high school and he's doing these competitions and it's on Saturdays. And I said, I hate to see you guys not be able to do the hangout because I enjoy doing them too. So I said, well, I'll go ahead and do this for now until the competition is over. We can always switch it back unless you guys, feel it works for you. Then we'll keep it here. If not, we'll move it back to Saturday. So. Greg, good seeing you there, man. Again, appreciate your support. You said, Chris, got to go. Great chat. The man. Well, have yourself a good weekend, man. And thanks for being here, right? Daniel, you said, yeah, Brandenburg said he learned in NASA that the Martians were roughly where we are now and that they evolved to look just like us, but they're not related to us. At least that's what he said. Well, the funny thing about it is you said, yeah, it's roughly where we are now. Great point. Now, when did their civilization die off? So by our standards, if we go back thousands of years ago, like back to like, Egyptian times like that, they'd be like stellar ahead of us. You know what I mean? They would have been like so modern and technologically advanced. We'd be like, oh my God. But now, because that civilization is basically frozen in time, we will surpass them at some point if we haven't. So yeah, I find that interesting. Pete Ferrero, he said bacteria was found in spent nuclear rods. Again, life finds a way. And like I said, you look at these volcanic vents at the bottom of oceans. I mean, look at what's going on there, man, and the temperature of the water around there. And these extremophiles live there. And like I said, they had where they had. I think you can look this up. Life under the Antarctica. When you look that up, you can see what looks like these bioluminescent like creatures, like they're like blue and red and just kind of like just swimming around. And it's below the freezing mark. I mean, these things are just swimming around down there. And and then when you look at uh, the Marianas Trench, you get on there, there's creatures floating around and swimming around down there. What the hell? I mean, the pressure is ungodly down there, and yet they're living down there. Clerks 93, you said your son watches your vids, Chris. Yeah, periodically, yeah. Of course, he's busy too, but yeah, he does. Yep. Terry Morris, you said, I remember your train and your Jeep, Chris, and I agreed with you. I think most life on other planets live underground, weather permitting. Please post more moon stuff. Loving what you do, Chris. Thanks. I appreciate it, Terry. Yeah, I mean, again, we're only speculating as to what we see, right? Because we think of everyday life here. Does it look similar to what we have here on Earth? And that's what we can only go by, right? Because even if we're some kind of weird machinery, we wouldn't know what to call it. It's a mechanical thingamajiggy. I mean, that's all you can claim that it is. But if you can put it like in a relation, the reason why I like to call them certain things that we see here is to help us understand what we may be seeing as far as the shape of it and features and everything else. But there's no way to vet any of it. I've said this a million times. There's no way to vet any of it, and it's pure speculation because we can't go there. We cannot touch it. We cannot handle it. We cannot, really get a good eye on this thing. We just don't know. Just pure speculation. That's all it is. Yep, Mark, you're right. Like I said before, you said, like I said, life will find a way, Chris. Absolutely. One way or the other, life will find a way. I mean, you got microbes and stuff like that on the International Space Station. I mean, it's still within our atmosphere, but still, the hell? I mean, the air is how thin? Yet these things are up there just doing their thing. Doc Chuck, Little Chuck, you said your second to the last video was the most amazing video on this topic I have ever seen. Yeah, the more you see in this stuff, and that's why I love doing these pans, right? Think about it. If we did the regular photos, we can do that, and I don't have a problem with that. But when you can look at so many other things just in that one, compared to that one photo, it just gives you like, especially a lot of you guys are saying now that you're like, man, I just love this stuff. I can't get enough. I want to keep doing it. It's just awesome, and that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? It gives you much more to look at. And, of course, I do give you guys all the links. In fact, the last moon video I just did of Enceladus, like I said, I think it was like an hour or two before I went on live tonight. The just that stuff is just crazy. I eat that shit up because you don't know what you're going to find. And you have to question things. And because people now, a lot of you guys have taken note of this, and you say, man, this is all I do now. I got turned on to this a long time ago. Started looking at photos, and this was long before I started doing videos. Looking at the moon, Mars, stuff like that. Yeah. Jonathan Waddell, you said, do you think that the beings that once or still does reside there originate on Mars? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a really good question. I'd love to know that because, like us, we might have originated from Mars, because of that panspermia theory. So is it possible that's that, but maybe originally we came from somewhere else from there? I mean, who knows? Like I said, if our solar system was in a different part of the galaxy 65 million years ago, then who knows what interacted with this solar system at one time? Something to think about. Robert, you said if Mars had a primitive civilization by dying, I'm sorry, Doctor. Thing just jumped up on me while I was trying to read this. Dr. Brandenburg, why it had to be wiped out by nuclear assault? Was it perhaps a civilization that had failed and their makers decided to wipe them out or wipe it out? I don't know. All great questions. It's really there's no way of knowing. And like I said, there was, and I still don't know his name. I got to look him up, so I'll have his name next time. But when they said that, the way they said was any civilization that grows exponentially, eventually it'll collapse on itself. It'll just implode. Is it possible they kill themselves off, like we're capable of doing? We can easily do this ourselves. Just start a nuclear war and we're all dead. Is it possible that happened, or were they fighting with somebody else outside their planet and they got nuked? Is it possible long ago we did it to each other? Who knows? All speculation. MC Gamer. Hey, Chris, my wife and kids ask why I always watch your channel, and I say, open your mind. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I go about my regular everyday life like all of you do. Do your job, you come home, you do everything normal like you always do. But what's wrong with thinking outside the box? And like I said, it's like in your DNA to like be curious about what's going on, and is it possible you came from somewhere else, and so on and so forth. It's not like you're delusional or dreaming. It's just that you're saying, I believe I'm part of something else. And that's what I believe. And this is the reason why I love these photos, because, you just get more and more. Almost feel like, hey, that's our old home. And look what happened to it. I'm not saying that's what it is, but you just kind of say, man, it's sad that what happened up there. And yeah, so interesting. I think it's just interesting to see and want to broaden your mind. Talk Chalk, Little Chuck, your message was retracted. So I don't know if you had to write that again or what. That'll do that from time to time. Clerks 93, he said, doesn't the Bible say something about Enoch leaving Earth while still alive? Yeah, I mean, they actually claimed that he literally went up with these beings. Uh, they all told him their names and what their profession was. Like one would be like, agriculture. They taught him how to speak, like different language, so on and so forth, all kinds of stuff. And he was above the firmament, which, he literally is looking down at Earth. How else can you say that? How else can you interpret that other than he was outside of Earth looking down? That's the only way you can come up with it. Ah, dishonest. I call it that because I don't know if you guys remember that back in the day, because it was like, oh yeah, pure spring water, and then of course they found out it wasn't. They lied, and it's just like every other bottling company. It's basically just purified, filtered water. That's what it comes down to. Mark Matheny, rather. I think you will find life on Mars by looking underground. And you know what? That's what I think this reason for this new rover from ESA or ESA is putting up there. Because again, ground penetrating radar, which can go 100 feet underground, as well as a 6-foot drill bit. So, of course, that's not 100 feet, but still, they can get a basic idea, how close something is to the surface, and maybe use that drill bit on it. Who knows? Or drill next to it. It's hard to tell. Strange Universe says, hi from Italy. Really like your videos. So interesting and right in your face. Well, I appreciate it. Well, you know, uh, I'm glad you watch them. But it's like, what we do here. I don't know if you're familiar with the channel, but basically we just dissect these photos, right? Find anything anomalous, something that stands out from its surroundings, and that's what we do. We just dissect it and speculate as to what these things could be, and then of course everybody gets the link, and then they come up with their own what they think believe it is, or extra stuff that they find. So that's what it's really about. Um, a lot of people have said, well, I like the way your approach is. You're not jamming into people's heads saying it is absolutely that, and you got to believe it. No, I'm just saying that this is what I found. It's anomalous. This is what I believe it may be. Other people have their own, minds, and they think differently sometimes. And every now and then, I like to trick it up a little bit. And I don't mean to fool anybody, but the idea is that what I'll do is I'll say like, uh, I might something like a viewer participation video, where basically I say, here's the actual anomaly. What do you guys think it is? Because every now and then I'll get blamed for that. Oh, it's suggestive. So therefore people are following you like sheep. No, no, no. Because a lot of people will tell me, no, Chris, I don't think that's right at all. I think it's this. So, um, so it's not like they're saying, yeah, we believe wholeheartedly. No, some of you guys will say, no, Chris, I don't think it's that at all. I think it's this. And I don't have a problem with that. And the reason for that is because we're all independent people here. We all have our own individual minds. So, and that's awesome that people think they're on their own. That's what it's all about. Hey, what's going on, Rachel? Good to see you in there. He said, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Glad to have you in there. Jonathan. No, it wasn't Jonathan. I'm sorry. It was photography, light magic, but I'll get back to you too. I said, you put on there, I heard NASA would love to piss in your water. I'm sure they would. Probably a little bit more than that too. Mark Matheny, thank you, sir. Thank you for your support. Much appreciated. What did I just? I didn't want to. Jonathan Waddell, you said it is amazing how many people do not want to think outside the box. Well, it's almost like they just don't care enough. It's not that they don't want to think outside the box. They just go, okay, so it's pictures Mars, big deal. So now what? Now what? I mean, it's like I said, I've done this where I've had friends over. Like I said, I'll show them a picture. Like I said, I don't know if I still got it under here. I showed you guys before. And this is, like I said, this is one of my faves where it looks like some kind of weird vehicle sitting on a hillside, some kind of weird thing. And there's more than one thing sitting in that photo. And what I love about it is that, there's so much to see in these photos. It's so much to see in these photos. So I'm going, why would you not want to go, wow, what is that? I want to know more. Inquiring minds want to know. Right? Yeah. Again, Mark, appreciate you. And like I was saying, Jonathan, a lot of people just don't care. And that's what I think they're hoping, really, to be truthful with you. They're going, and like I said, maybe they're using that reverse psychology now with the more of the making it evident about the manipulation and obfuscations, because they go, well, if people see enough of it, they're just going to go, no big deal. You know what I mean? They're just going to go, well, it's all fake, so let's not look at it anymore. That's what they're hoping. And, I'm going to be all over it like a bloodhound. So as far as I'm concerned, bring on some more photos. Bring on the 2020. That's what I want to say. Alien Tenno, you said we are being restrained, because certain outside sources are afraid of what we have or what we can become, good or bad. Yeah, absolutely. Rolando Abs, you said if there's life at 11 kilometers deep, why not on Mars? Exactly. Even if they were extremophiles like we have here on Earth, why not? I mean, they're so robust that they can live in something super cold or something really hot. So how the hell do we know, right? Jerry, thank you for your support, man. I appreciate you. He said, better than being at the movies. Well, you know why? I'll tell you why. And you're absolutely right about that, because I love the interaction, and everybody can share their ideas, throw around different ideas. And that's what it's all about. We talk about, whatever's on, what was on the videos had done, maybe the stuff they found. It's just awesome. Definitely, definitely awesome to do. Well, Lucky Mo, you said, I suspect life originated outside our solar system and we were seeded here on Earth. I'm sorry, Mars, Earth, etc. Perhaps we are spread throughout the galaxy. Stargate TV show may have been close to the truth. Well, and that's, and I love that show. I love Stargate. Especially the original movie. You ever see the original one, the actual movie itself, not the series? Cool video, movie rather. It could very well be. And let's say it wasn't like that at all. But if we're all, basically carbon-based life forms, why the hell would there not be other life forms anywhere else? It's spread throughout the galaxy, about the universe. Why would there not be other life out there? Makes no sense. Oh, I totally agree with you, Rachel. You said NASA seems extremely invested in a world, Mars, that apparently has no life. Yeah, just rocks, cold, barren planet, nothing there to see. Come on. And like I said, nobody. It's like yourselves. It's like if you went out and you wanted to buy something, right? You're not going to pay for anything unless, of course, it's going to benefit you somehow, whether through entertainment. I don't care if you went out and bought a gun, maybe going to help you with your, maybe a bow or a gun, maybe for your hunting. I don't care what it is. It has to benefit you and work for you, or what's the point? So there has to be a motive behind that. It's as simple as that. It's not just to look at geological life, little forms and rocks, and come on. I don't believe that crap at all. I'm not saying that they haven't. I'm just saying that's not the only reason why they're there. You're not going to keep spending the kind of money and sending these extremely expensive, machines to Mars. It makes no damn sense. Again, to do what? It's the rovers are capable of analyzing the soil pretty darn well by shooting lasers into it, getting, of course, the smoke that comes off it, analyzes this. They can tell the composition of certain soils. They take lasers and blast them at rocks, and then, of course, it analyzes it with the Molly cam because it's like microscopic. It literally can get right up on the rock. Um, if that's true, then okay. Then you've already looked at this how many times? But yet, let's set another one. It's just more rocks. Nothing there to see. But let's keep spending this money to send these machines up. There's much more to it. Much more. Yeah, you're right about that, Ernest Haynes. Yeah, never a straight answer. Mark, you're right. Yeah, it's a generation of I don't care. It's all about me kind of people. I swear to God, if it's not the same saying I've been saying, oh, it's all about me, all me. And that's exactly what it is. People are just happy as long as my little circle is, my little bubble's fine. I'm perfectly okay with it. You know what? I'm not. If people want to live that way, that's, they want to live with blinders on and do that. Listen, that's totally their life that they should do that. But not for me. MC Gamer, Chris, have you found any more pictures of Titan? Love them videos, man. I don't, to be truthful, there's not a whole lot of them. I mean, you guys can look them up, and there's just not a whole lot. And when they do show them, there's one, and I think it's in green, but the way it shows it, the whole dawn, the whole I was gonna say planet, the whole moon is like completely blurred out, but there's like one strip, and even that just looks lousy as hell. There's not a whole lot of them photos out there, and I think that's the reason why. If you're sending any of these landers or just flybys or orbiters around these moons or planets, whatever, if there's nothing to see, why not just spread it out throughout the world? Let people see what's on there. To me, it just makes no sense. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're raw photos, right? So take the photo, say, hey, people, this is what we found on this planet or this moon. And, nothing there to see. It's just, simple rocks, but we wanted to take a look at it. And here you go. Here's for the public to digest and look at. You don't see that. Why? Ernest Hines, yeah, Hines, you saying too many UFO sightings. Our solar system must be in the middle of a universal highway. We're looking at it like, gee, we're trying to be, spacefaring. We're trying to get out there. We're trying to actually send people to another planet now. Oh, it's just so hard, which I don't believe that is, especially if we got anti-gravitics. We've got probably crafts that can go to Mars in 20, 30 minutes and just go there. But let's say we don't. We're just trying to make it, trying to fly and trying to get there. Where these aliens are probably going, man, look at these poor primitive people, man. They can't even barely get off their own planet. That's sad. They're not ready for us, but we're seeing them. Photography Light Magic, you said, why do you think the so-called sand is a different color below the surface? I'm sorry, well, the different color, yeah, below the surface. It's not sand, it's dirt. Yeah. I mean, again, you see this powder on the ground, it's like this orangey color. Oh, okay, it's like, okay. But they don't need to, they just barely go like that, and it's like they're right into regular sand. It's just it's brown sand. Or it's dirt rather, right? So yeah. Rachel, you said our moon has no life, and the planet closest to the sun is too hot, and there's no investment for them. But there is for Mars. Why doesn't it? Which doesn't make sense to me. Well, true. Well, again, there's got to be something to gain. It's as simple as that. Because, like I said, nobody's going to just, it's not even sending the actual crafts. Think about this a minute. There's people literally on a drafting board building these things. Okay. The manpower, the time to come up with the ideas of the things, to build these things, build a a craft to send it there, the whole nine. I mean, you're not talking about 2 weeks to test these things either. The testing, the testing, the testing. So you can bet when they actually did the 2012 rover, they were already working on the second one. Absolutely 100%. And they said, why don't we retrofit it with these instruments this time? So then they, of course, they got their own little testing yard. They take them to different countries. They put them in extreme weather. Try this, try that. They were doing that from the word go. They're probably building more instruments, better instruments. Now that we think this is this, send radar up there, send drill bits. I mean, so they're not just doing it for no reason. They clearly they have a motive, and it's not to look at soil and dirt and rocks and stuff like that, right? Yeah, you're right about that, Lucky Mo. Yeah, he said I went to a site where people believe we never went to the moon. The evidence was example after example of obfuscated Apollo photos. They wouldn't consider the obvious alternative explanation. Yeah, exactly. Close minded. You know, again, if you see this, you have to question that. If because how many people have said, you probably heard this, oh, it was done on a set. Okay. Well, then, if the set was so good, think about this a minute. If they built it on a set, would they need to obfuscate it? Why would they have to obfuscate it? Because you would build it so perfectly, there'd be nothing on there to have to take out of the photo. So if you were doing that, you'd say, okay, let's make sure there's nothing on there on the set that doesn't belong there. In other words, we'll just put the sand. That's perfect. Some rocks, perfect. And then we'll make a fake. Well, not fake, but we'll put, like we could put fake mountains in the back or buttes, or moon buttes, or lunar, whatever. We'll do that, and it'd be nothing there to actually blotch out. So the photos are real because they're actually intentionally manipulating these things out. That's why I believe they're 100% real. And now I'm not saying that they haven't made up false videos and false photos to try to fool the public. Again, reverse psychology. If you were to see that, oh, clearly all of them are fake. So therefore, I'm not going to believe or put any kind of weight into what NASA tells us. And we still don't believe that, but we also look past that and look past the obfuscation. You got to. That's the only way to do it. Andrew, you said if they figured out how to compress space time, you would be able to go to Mars in minutes and barely moving at all, with barely moving at all. I think this has likely been cracked and it's being kept secret. Yeah. And like I said, even if you couldn't do that, anti gravitics right off the bat, I mean, there's really no propulsion per se. It just responds to the gravitational pull here on Earth are just like magnets, you know. And it's just, there's nothing holding you back. There's no friction in space because there's no air. So there's nothing there to hold you back. So I think that's been going on a long time, to be truthful. I'd be surprised with the technology I believe we have that we couldn't go, right? Paul McKenzie said, from the hundreds of photos of and videos of Mars, I think it's clear there was a civilization that met a catastrophic event or events. Too much evidence of destruction. Absolutely. At least that's what we're seeing in the photos, right? So, I mean, rocks are rocks. We all get that. That makes sense. But when you start to see things that are just amongst these rocks and things that are being dressed up to look like rocks, there's no freaking way. I mean, there's no other alternative but to say it's definitely some intelligent being made these things. That's all. I mean, it doesn't even have to be like way out there kind of thing. Clearly, you can see that these things are intelligently made somehow. That's all there is to it. Gorge, you put on the I imagine thousands of years ago there was a race that believed in multiple races living in different planets, and was giving out technology to people in Stone Age, and then their planets began wars, or they slipped them this information to help better them, maybe move them along in their technological rather advancements. So they give them this little tidbits to help them out. Now, don't get me wrong, like you said, you can use them in a wrong way, and next thing you know, they kill each other off. Well, I got firepower now. In other words, let's say it had an invention that helped them with their transportation, but somehow they turned it into a weapon of some sort and killed each other off. Well, then sad for them. But I think a lot of these, I think the civilizations, if they are out there and they're way past us technologically, I think that warring crap is over because they surpass that. Because it's just, I want you to envision this planet being, without wars. We work together as a human race, not as that race or that race. We all work together. Don't you think we've been out in space and already on Mars a long time ago, and on probably a lot of the moons or planets by now? Because we would have worked together as a team. We would have already been out there. So you can bet they've already surpassed all that. Anything to do with money, they don't have like money, actual money. It's like all this maybe like on a where they're equivalent to like a credit card, only it's whatever. Or they don't even use it at all. They just built for for all. In other words, if you kind of like I said, I use the term like an Amish country. They get together. If this married couple needed a some kind of barn, well, they build it. They all get together and build it, and that's it. Next one needed it, boom, they all got together and built it. There was no, well, you got to pay me now. It was just done. And who knows that they don't have that kind of civilization out there that actually just does for themselves as a whole. Who knows? Sky Team Galaxy says, "Hi, Chris. How are you doing? I'm doing fine. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well." LS6SS, happy Friday, brother. Hey, what's going on? I was thinking about the other day because I remember I made that slip up. I think I said the LS6 was the 454 instead of the 350. Well, of course, I like all of those. Any of the big blocks, 396, 454s, but the small block, um, 350s and stuff like that. But it was funny because I was thinking about that. In fact, I was just talking to my brother the other day. He's got his Monte Carlo, a 72 Monte Carlo would have built 454. So it's, that's what I think that's what threw me off. It's just like I thought about that after. I said, "What do you go putts?" I'm like thinking of shit. Um, but yeah, Mags K, you said, I love looking at the gigapans. Can't stop once you start. It's addictive. Yeah, and absolutely, it's just awesome because once you start looking at all these nooks and crannies, like I said, photos are cool, but then you only get that one anomaly or maybe two anomalies, and that's pretty much it. But when you do a pan, again, you can see where it's next to these anomalies. You can see exactly where you're at when you pull back in the photo. And again, I feel you guys, man. You guys are like, man, I wish you could tell me the size of these things and the scale, but there's almost no way to do that. Now you can do it if you had the satellite photo. You can do that to a certain degree. Sometimes they'll still give you scale, sometimes they won't. So even that's touch and go. But you can get it. It will show in some of them. But these regular ground ones, they used to show scaling. They don't do it anymore. That's done. Very rarely do you ever see anything scaling that's like I said, just ground photos. You don't see them, meaning with the rovers and stuff. You don't see that. Photography Light Magic, you said, why spend billions of dollars on a rover if they go in 20 minutes with any gravity spacecraft? Go there and do it yourself. Well, absolutely. But again, this is all about, it's just PR move for the people. Oh, look how far we're still using the Saturn V rocket. Now, of course, we're making better rockets, but, oh, that's all we're capable of. So the public goes, oh, look how slowly we're progressing, but we're getting there. No, then I said, then there's a super elite where they've got all of this stuff and they can do it with ease. Like I said, there's the part for the public and there's a part that they have, and you can bet it's so much more ahead of us. And like I said, I've heard people say we're like 50 to 100 years ahead of what we know of. So can you imagine that? Again, let's just suppose they're not. But just picture your phone in 50 years. You're not even going to have that anymore. It's not even going to be available. It's going to be all in here. You're going to have you know, just the way we're progressing technologically, Can you imagine what the cars will look like in another 100 years? What? You know, watches, it's all going to be integrated into us. We'll be like hybrids ourselves. At some point, we'll get there. Andrew, that's a good point. You said parts of Mars looks like destruction, but that doesn't mean all of Mars is like that. And you're absolutely right. Could very well be totally different. Andrew Starling, you said, remember the old TV analog? When you turn on the channel on the TV, you got static or signals. The static or signals is background noise from space. This is the reason why we have digital. We now have digital signals. Well, I mean, I don't know if they'd be from space themselves, but because I don't know if you'd be able to receive it regardless, right? But it's just white noise. It's just trying to receive on a certain frequency, and if there's nothing on that particular frequency, you will not receive it. It's as simple as that. So you know, but high tech technology is moving right along, man. That's how it do. That's how it does it. I'm not even sure. Higher pings you put on there. What is the payload going to be in the latest SpaceX rocket currently being built? Had they released that information? I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into it to be truthful with you. I don't know if anybody else has. Which reminds me, there's a on space.com. It says NASA unveils 16 payloads that private lunar landers will take to the moon. So yeah, they're basically going to be taking instruments to the moon. 16 of these little things, lunar landers. So they're going to just have their own little payload, meaning just scientific instruments or whatever they're going to be. They're going to be on there. I'll give you guys a link to that. You can check that out. Um, but again, they had to see nice rocks. Nothing to see. We just figured we'd just look at the moon. What the hell? There's a link there, guys, if you want to check it out. Uh, Rachel, you said rockets are dead, and I'm sorry, dead in technology. It can't go any faster, and it cannot create or an artificial gravity in space. Uh, let's say artificial gravity is created under its own electric field. Yeah, yep. I just noticed the feed flickering over there. Wonder what's going on over there. I actually went. Let me see here. What if I can do it here? Whoop. Um, that's a little better. Okay, that's a little better. It's actually buffered. I mean, yeah, it was actually buffering there for a couple of seconds. I don't know what was going on there. Max K, yeah, he said as much as I want disclosure, I think at this moment rather in time, the focus should be on Mother Earth. I couldn't agree with you more. I think there's a lot we can do here. The technology we have, we can get rid of all of the trash that's in our oceans. We can clean up third world countries that are being basically bombarded with trash from other countries. Things like that, but they're thinking as a whole. Now, they may look at it as like small peanuts here, like, well, it's just a couple little problems. We see them as huge problems, right? But they may say, well, wait a minute, though. Do we clean up here and not take the chance of going to Mars and starting a civilization? So at least we can have both civilizations and then we can clean up, which to me is kind of, they should be been doing that all along. But because they're thinking, clean up a little bit of trash or save the whole human race. So they're trying to maybe they're thinking about the heavier or the bigger problem. Who knows, right? But I totally agree with you. I think they should really, uh, you know, concentrate here on Earth because it could be a whole lot better place. You know that as well as I do, right? MG Toe, I didn't see you sneak in there. He said, thumbs up, everyone. That's right, hammer time. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, hit it, please. Good to see that. People like on board with it going, yeah, sweet. Earth needs love too. Absolutely. I don't know, Mario's. You put on there. What do you think of the UFO war in the sun? I'm not sure what you're saying there. I think the sun is a Stargate. Um, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some crazy things where people literally showed like things coming and going into the sun, which I really find really weird. But I don't know if you were referring to the other thing that was actually fueling up, was taking like the plasma off the sun. That was pretty cool. That was pretty neat. Not sure what to make of that because it's like a big round disc and then it would just pull off of there. So that was pretty cool. Yep, alien, you're right about that. Put our own house in order first. Jonathan Waddell, you said, do you think all of these high ranking individuals that are coming out saying they want full disclosure on all of these issues are actually spreading disinformation themselves for the elite? That could be very well be. They just can steer the population how they want you to think, right? That's why I'll take in the information, but I'll go, okay, does it sound logical? Does it, I'll play it out in my head. Does that sound right? Kind of like what I was doing when I was analyzing that Enceladus moon that I just did in my video today. And, you have to stop and think. It's one thing to be fed information, right? Whether it be from NASA or any of these other countries. It's okay to be fed this information, but you have to think for yourself. In other words, kind of like what I preach here, think for yourselves, take your own information, and then make your own decision. Well, when I was looking at that thing, I'm going, it just doesn't make sense to me the way these photos look and how because a lot of these photos are awesome of Enceladus. And when you look at them, you just go, but man, why do these shadows look this way? Why do these things don't look like vapor plumes at all, water plumes? They look like lights, like high intensity lights. Why does this look this way? It should not look that, and something that's supposed to be just chaotic, meaning just vapor, just or water, just spewing out of a hole out of a moon, and yet it doesn't look like that at all. It's just so you have to stop and think for yourself and really analyze this stuff. Higher pings. I usually watch a stream for a bit and then decide if it deserves a thumbs up. Yeah, you can do that too. Absolutely. Um, I mean, it just helps the actual channel to be recognized, at least through YouTube, not anybody else. But it actually helps them because it puts you in a better state, so they actually advertise your channel more. They tend to do that more, so that's why I ask for the thumbs up. And a lot of people do it anyway. I really don't even have to tell them, right? But I'm glad you think that way. Higher paying, you said deciders are content, presentation, if the chat is welcoming or not, and how the mods treat people. Maybe I am too harsh. No, not at all. It's actually, what's the word I want to use? It's good thinking, actually. It's just, common sense. And I'm the same way because I've been on channels when live feeds and the mods or just the actual presenter, person doing the actual video. I mean, they're just not kind to the people. And, but the people here you'll find, just look at the people here, the good people. Yeah, you'll get a troll in every now and then. It'll come into the channel and you'll get that. But that's normal. Everybody gets those. It's not a big deal to me. But you'll find there's a lot of great people here if you haven't been here before. So, um, great bunch of people. Michael Stark, haven't seen you in a while. What's up, Chris? Happy Friday, everyone. Yeah, good to see you there, man. You must have been busy. Annette Smith, he said NASA now admits to water on Mars. That being said, looking for any life on Mars should be our priority. Don't you agree? Absolutely. But I think they've already done that, right? Because I mean, they've started announcing about, like I said, I heard years ago they were saying there was, and I forget how much of like if it was a square foot, 3 square feet, whatever it was, but they said there's X amount of water per square footage or whatever just under the soil. And I said, well, that's cool that they did that. But I said, there's much more than that because I researched that, seeing that, and I've also stated a long time ago that they had a water cycle on there. And then I stumbled on a video that, and I don't recall his name now because it's only I think I used his name once. Um, but he's the actual, he works on the drill for the Curiosity rover. And I stumbled on this video because he says the guy was interviewing him saying, "Yeah, so what kind of drill is that?" And basically, he was demonstrating on the drill how it's like a hammer drill, and it would just drill in, and then it would just start to turn, and then but it has a spiral and it has a clear tube. And what they would do is it would do that, and then just draw the stuff into the drill into this tube, and then it would analyze it in the analyzer. But the guy says, "Well, sometimes it can get jammed." He says, "What do you mean get jammed?" He says, "Are you saying the soil is wet?" He says, "Yeah, we actually found out there's a water cycle in Gale Crater." And I said, "I've been saying this long before he's ever said that. Just based on where the poles go, like our seasons here on Earth, where I'm sorry, our north and south poles, our caps go. Mars is just the same way. And it keeps coming back every single year. It's not just due to pressure. It's not just air pressure, because at first they were saying it's carbon ice, which is usually produced by pressure. But then they said, wait a minute. We're saying that there's H2O now. Now there's water ice underneath the carbon, which is the same bloody thing we have here on Earth. And I've been saying that there's water there. It's not just, it's a regular H2O, not just carbon ice. Um, and they would say, well, it's carbonized, it sublimates, it turns into a gas, and then it never. I said, well, then if that's the truth, then what the hell is putting the ice back there? Well, it's the pressure on the planet, which they've lied about that recently, and somebody's corrected them. Now they redacted what they've been saying. Now they're saying, well, no, we're changing it up a little bit now, and now it's a little different. So that's what I'm saying. They're getting caught in their lies slowly, and they're starting to come out with more and more truth. So we got warmer temperatures, average of 50 to 70 degrees in the summertime at the equatorial region. We've got clouds, and a lot of them look like cirrus clouds, which is weather changing clouds. And if you do have these weather swings, then chances are you have precipitation. You're going to have that. So, based on all of the stuff you read on, guess what happens? You come up with there's life on that planet in one form or another, whether it's just small, biological. Oh, I shouldn't say biological, but like small. It could be anything from like organics, right? Like moss or anything of that sort. So yeah, you put all the pieces together. That's what you come up with. Sweet Nelly, she said, "I like it here and your videos." Well, thank you very much, Sweet Nelly. Elaine, I was just reading these because you guys are going back and forth. And I said, I like that where you said, "Oh my God, why did it McDonald's instead of MC Gamer?" Gotta love that auto spell, right? Jerry, you asked Annette Smith, "Are you from RRI?" No, I don't know if she is, but I am. Cord, you said, "I found water on a photo and look for life. I found footsteps." You're not the first one that said that. It looked like footsteps in a certain area where it actually looked like it was next to the lander or the rover, and had said the same thing. Now, I haven't really seen anything that was really definitive enough to call it a like a footstep or anything like that, but I'm not saying it's not there, right? Um, who knows? Alien Tenno, yes, Mars has a permafrost. Remember that when they first did the Viking lander, when it first got there, what did it do? Had a little tiny scoop, scooped it, and there was permafrost underneath the actual top, well, under that top soil. And it wasn't X amount of time later, it melted. So how warm can that planet actually get? If it just like it melted it pretty quick. It wasn't like within seconds, but it melted it. They kept it. They took another photo and it was completely gone. So yeah, Michael Starkey said, Chris, great last Mars videos. So much stuff is obfuscated. My guess NASA has CGI algorithms to texture map objects to look like terrain dramatically from the rover. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it actually does that. Excuse me, and it automatically does that. Like you said, it's got an algorithm. I've actually said that before, where it actually will either encrypts the hell out of it, like puts its own digital information over it, and then it gets sent here. And of course, they can decipher that by just running a program. It simply takes that off of it. So if the signal is ever intercepted, they can't make heads or tails of it. So once we get it in the DSN, the Deep Space Network, once they get it in, they can just they got a program that just takes that top layer off, and they can see exactly what they need to see, right? All right, 420 Alien, good to see you. And he said, got to go eat dinner with the family. Everyone have a great week. See you all next week. Well, I appreciate you being here, 420 Alien. Have yourself a great weekend there, right? Photography Light Mag. Yeah, you're right about that. NASA's so full of crap. Is there anyone that actually believes any of their yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, and I've said this before, it's kind of like a habitual liar. Every now and then they tell the truth, but the difference with them is it's in their photos, so you got to read between the lines. And I believe, like I said, I love everything about NASA except for them not divulging the actual real information, because again, space flight, they make the technology, it gets watered down to the actual public at some point, like the microwave oven, things like that. Stuff like that gets, new technologies get handed down to the public. So what I love about that, plus the actual exploration part of it, is what I love about them. But they just don't divulge the information. That's what pisses me off. That's my biggest frustration about NASA. So yeah. Higher Ping says, too many people these days just do as they are told and go with the flow. Maybe people, not people, but maybe maybe people should think more about their decisions, actions, etc. Absolutely, totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Be your own individual. Sometimes you got to go against the grain, if you know what I mean. Andrew Starling, why are NASA and other organizations hiding truth about our solar system? The knowledge could be one large step for human understanding, one giant leap for mankind. I totally agree with you. I don't know if they're just trying to hide our past or if they just think we couldn't handle it. Because, like I said, if you go back to NASA when they come out with the Brookings report back in, what was it, late 60s, early 70s, I think it was like 60, somewhere in 60, early 60s. And they were basically saying how the public would act if they knew there was aliens out there, if we were ever had an alien come here. I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe back then people would have panicked. And that could be, but we're so desensitized to it now. It's all over the freaking news, for crying out loud. You see, like, oh, somebody seen like they're seeing like hearing these weird noises and on Earth. The Earth is like making banging noises, and there's UFOs and shit flying everywhere. I mean, come on. If we seen it now, we'd probably go, oh my God. Now, depending on if it's an Independence Day kind of scenario, yeah, maybe we'd be a little afraid. But it makes you wonder, are they making these videos to make people go, oh, we hope we never have an invasion? It's not about an invasion. If these people, if these aliens, we'll call them aliens, these other beings were hostile, they would have took this planet over a long time ago, especially during our ancient people times. Think about it. What the hell are they going to fight them with? Bows and arrows? I mean, they would have took this planet over a long time ago, without a doubt. So I don't believe any of them aggressive if they were. If they are flying around us and stuff like that, I don't believe that a bit. Alien Tenno says NASA answers to no one, not even the POTUS. Well, yeah, you're right about that because the military, the DOT, or the DOD rather, not the Department of Transportation, but the DOD, the Department of Defense, they're the people that call the shots. Plain and simple as that. And how I know that is, like I said, I'm going to do that pretty soon. I've been telling you guys I'm going to do this, and I've been putting it off only because I've been running into these pans and stuff like that and want to get these out. Um, but it actually says in this article that they were puzzled because they're saying, why is NASA affiliated with the DOD? Why are they taking these photos and putting a digital overlay over the top of these? So on and so forth. They found an extra radio transmitter on the Curiosity rover, or on, at the time though, they were looking at the Spirit rover. And because it had issues, they looked into it and found out it has an extra transmitter on it. It goes directly to the DSN, the Deep Space Network here on Earth. And they were trying to figure out what the hell's going on, who did this and why did they do this? And then they found out, why would anybody manipulate these photos? And this is a guy working for NASA. Think about it. So he's not even aware of what's going on. Again, he's probably part of the regular public part of NASA and don't think nothing of it. But he's a programmer and decided to check into this himself. Did a memory dump. When they did a memory dump on the Spirit rover, they found out all this information going, what the hell's going on with this? And why is this like this? And just crazy, crazy stuff, guys. And they are absolutely, putting a digital overlay on these photos, and not to mention spot blurring and all that other good stuff that comes with it, right? You're right about that, Jonathan. Follow the money. Like I said, I'm not going to spend money. I'll spend money if it's something worth me buying. Think about it. Well, I got a bad car, so let me just go and invest in that. Why? It's going to serve me. Um, I need to get gas in my car. Why? Because if I don't, it won't run. Things like that. You buy a house because you want to have your family in it, so on and so forth. You don't want to pay somebody rent and make them rich. Whatever the reason, right? So in some ways, well, not in some ways, but anyway, people are going to do that. There has to be a motive behind it. Whether it's power, resources, whatever it may be, and even resources is power if you think about it, right? So yeah, Starman 7, what's going on? Good to see you in there too. And Ed Smith, I think they were asking if you were from Rhode Island. All right. Cord, you said on there, are there any data about changes in the Martian temperatures? Is it getting warmer? It might if the planet is recovering. Well, it's coming out of an ice age. And they've said this, I think, in 2011 or 2012, that, and strangely enough, if they said in 2011, they sent a rover there in 2012, strangely enough, right? So, but the whole solar system is actually heating up because the sun is going through I think it's going through its 11-year cycle. So the whole solar system is actually heating up right now. Yep, you're right about that, Susan. Yep, no one believes NASA. They keep us like mushrooms and keep us in the dark and feed us crap. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let me jump way down here because this thing. I think Abs is taking off. 0303. Good seeing you there, man. Good having you. Have yourself a good weekend there, right? Joe Matthews is hi from Texas. What's going on, Joe? Good to have you in there. Andrew Stalling, yeah, absolutely. It's not the big aliens we have to be afraid of. It's a small alien coronavirus. Aliens do not have to be bigger than us, just small meteorites. Oh, absolutely. Well, if you think about it, the War of the Worlds, what killed it? Just our regular germs and everything killed them aliens. So why can't it be the other way around, right? Yeah, well, that's true. You got that right. 1225 Venny. Yeah. If if having resources is power, then Africa would be like that now. Well, true, but the problem is they're robbing from them. You know what I mean? And just like Mars is different in the aspect where if there is no life, meaning even regular life, meaning beings, then they're doing, they're just taking what's left over there. Whereas over there, they're robbing the people, right? Yeah, not good. Joe says just chilling. All right, cool. Kenneth, you're right. It's so cold there that we get hot pixels in almost every photo. Yeah, exactly. And for a camera to heat up, now keep in mind the mass cam is basically on the mass itself, and it's got the two cameras, got the 30 and I think the 100 mil. Um, so you've got these on here, but it's heating the hell up so badly that it's literally you get these. Some of these photos are so bad that they're all over the photo. You know what I mean? It's crazy how that works, but you can definitely get some seriously hot pixels in there and basically almost take a photo out. I've seen it. That could be in there, Michael Stock. He said, "My guess is humans are viewed as a work of resources to the ETs. They'd rather use us instead of destroy us, which I bet they've been doing for a long time. It's been working out in their favor so far." Well, again, if you go by the ancient Sumerians and talked about the Anunnaki talked about how they needed to basically get gold from Earth, and what they do is they take this Earth and like make it into a powder, and they would basically throw it into their atmosphere to protect their atmosphere and protect their planet. At least that's the story. Now, so they literally genetically modified the early Homo sapien. Well, back then it was a caveman kind of thing, and they modified them to be workers. And when they were done, they said, "Okay, the leaders were saying, okay, just go ahead and kill them off now." And they were like, "No, just leave them be. Why do you even do that? Just let them be. Now that they're here and they're self sufficient, basically, let them do whatever they got to do." And they basically left us alone. Now, so how true that is, but it's written literally. Poor Garden, what's going on? Good to see you in there. 'Troy Lum,' you said on there, out of all of the photos that show, which one of them do you think has the most undeniable evidence of alien beings? As far as artifact wise, there's just so many. It's hard to pinpoint. Like I said, I had one that showed like what looked like a vehicle of some sort. There was one as bizarre as it looked. It looked like something we would see here is like a bullet train, structures everywhere. You can see parts of what structures look like are coming out of. It's almost like they're being built into these buttes or these hills, right? It's just too uncanny, and the stuff you see is mechanical as opposed to just a natural rock or a crevice in the ground or a hill. You're seeing all kinds of stuff. It looks like total devastation. So to pick out just one, it's almost impossible to pick out just one singular, right? 1225 any. Yeah, Chris, you should go back to some of the pictures you studied in your videos before and study them again. I have. I actually started going back to those too. Something that I'd done long ago. And I started going back into those because, yeah, I mean, my understanding of Photoshop's better and I can see these things a lot better too, where, I can pinpoint these things a lot easier. Before, it's like, here's the thing, you have to actually change and evolve the same way they do with their manipulations. So what applies to one photo won't apply to another. You can say, "Oh, I'm gonna use the same exact tools or the same way I did it in this photo and try it on this one." Doesn't work. It does not work because they change up and they evolve the way they do their stuff. So you got to try to roll with it and try to see if you can basically decipher it, if you will. Although you're not really deciphering, you're just trying to see how they're going about it and see the best way you can pull it back out. And it's not always the case. I said it many a times that you might see the tip of the iceberg basically in a photo. where you might see a bunch of little things, but you're not really seeing anything. You're barely seeing. There's just a scratching, just scratching the surface when it comes to these photos. Some of them. Philosophy of tool. He said, "Wow, that's what a very smart friend scientist told me." He said that that God was an extraterrestrial general who came to Earth 2 million years ago and created humans in order to mine gold and diamonds. Yeah, well, the ancient Sumerians said the same thing, and these guys and these people knew all of the planets and everything, the colors of them, almost. I think almost. I don't know if it was the distance between the planets, the size, and everything. I mean, how do these people know this? It's not like they went out into space or had these huge telescopes back then, or did they? Who the hell knows? That may be some of the path that they're trying to suppress from us, right? How do we know? Michael says, "Yep, guys, we were engineers." Says it in religious books and ancient texts, and it's obvious compared to any other animal. My guess is we're a hyper realistic simulation to keep us under control. Well, yeah, I mean, so when you read this stuff in this ancient text, you just can't, at first you're going, come on, it just sounds like bogus. But then, oh, wait a minute. There's another ancient civilization that kind of talks the same way, right? Like, it has a lot to do in common. And these people are on the opposite side of the globe. It's not like they're right next door, right? So, yeah, it's cool how that works, but it's just really bizarre. And like I said, they weren't ancient sci-fi writers back then. They were just telling what they saw, and it was something important enough for they either literally etch it in stone, write about it, paint, whatever it might be. They found it so important that they had to do that. So yeah, and that you said is 5G going to happen? Oh yeah, it's already going to happen. But you know, a lot of people are in fear of this 5G. I don't think it's any different than any other radio signal. If you're close enough to anything, it can do anything. It can really mess with your body, cause cancer, whatever. Um, and like I said, I've been into radio for years. And like I said, if I was to take a business band radio, which is like 151 megs, megahertz, if you would have, and I've got one right here, that if I took like what they call a little rubber ducky antenna, it's like a little screw on antenna you put in the back. And I could just key my microphone on this thing and just put it at low power, and you literally feel your face radiate like you're blushing. And I can put that on the lowest setting, which is like 5 watts. Now, picture being, you know, 50,000 watts. So, and that's if you're really close to this thing, right? So, any any transmitter being next to it is really not good. Some frequencies are worse than others, but it doesn't mean it's going to kill you. But a lot of people are in fear that, oh my god, look at that 5G. It's like it's not going to, unless you live under one of these towers. I don't think I'd sweat it too much. But if you do, I don't know. I'd probably consider moving. It's kind of like being under electrical lines, right? They say it's not good for you because it still gives off it's a field it gives off on these lines. All right, Paul, Mackenzie. Yeah, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be jumping off of this as well, getting ready for dinner. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night. Well, have a good night, Paul. Have a great one. Great weekend. And everybody here have yourself a great weekend. Super Bowl weekend. Just try not to get too drunk, guys. At least stay home and do that. But anyway, guys, it's been a really good one. It's been almost like 2 hours and 50 minutes so far. So a great hangout as always. You guys know that. A great bunch of people. Got people joining us all the time. This is the reason why I'm putting that in our, um, you know, my pin post at the top of the comment section to invite other newer people coming in that they may want to share their comments or ask questions or whatever. So, and I appreciate everybody with their support as always, whether it's just morally or monetarily. I always appreciate you guys. You know that. And by the way, you might be seeing some merchandise coming up. So, stay tuned for that. You guys have asked for it, so we're gonna make it happen. So just picture that nice Mars anomalies and beyond right there. Bam. So yeah. So Susan, Rachel, everybody saying thank you, Chris. Bye, Chris. You guys are awesome. I love you guys all. You know that. You guys are great, and just a great bunch of people. I couldn't ask for anybody better. Basically, it is like family here, right? So, and that's why I enjoy doing these. It's awesome. I love to take the time out just to do this with you guys. It's just great. So, But anyway, you guys, everybody have yourself a good week, right? And we're gonna try to knock some more of these videos out coming up this week, and get out of 2 or 3 of them, like we always do, and just analyze the hell out of these things. So, anybody who's new here, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that little notification bell because you want to make sure you see any of the newest videos coming up or live feeds if you forget, whatever. So, definitely appreciate you guys all being here. Anyway, guys, everybody have yourself a great night, a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Peace.